Chapter 1985. Yes, little Dumbo is awake. Xia Ping was discussing cultivation issues with Green Ox. Suddenly he sensed a familiar and powerful aura coming from the Mountain River Pearl space, almost filling the entire space. This aura was emitted by little Dumbo. However, when she was sleeping she had been very quiet. Now that she was emitting this aura, something must have happened, or she had finally refined a huge amount of soul energy and awakened from her slumber. Whoosh! Xia Ping's figure flashed and immediately entered the Mountain River Pearl space, arriving at where little Dumbo was sleeping. Big brother? He had just arrived when he saw little Dumbo, who had woken up, break out of the eggshell. Her body was surrounded by a unique aura, as if she was a world. There seemed to be many law patterns on the surface of her body, somewhat similar to the law patterns he saw in the spatial crack when he came to the central cosmos, unfathomable. Did you advance to the Sage Realm? Xia Ping asked in surprise. If little Dumbo had really advanced to the Sage Realm, then he would have an immortal rank helper. Such a help was simply boundless. Not yet. Hearing this, little Dumbo shook her head, indicating that she had not advanced to the Sage Realm yet. However, she had already reached the peak of the Thunder Calamity Realm and was just a step away from advancing to the Sage Realm. A step away? What exactly is it? Xia Ping asked curiously. If he could solve this problem, little Dumbo might be able to advance to the immortal rank immediately. I'm not very sure either, just a little bit away. Little Dumbo said seriously. Xia Ping was not surprised that little Dumbo did not understand. After all, little Dumbo was just a Gaia that had not been born for long, and was not very clear about a lot of cultivation knowledge. In fact, little Dumbo's cultivation speed was so fast that it had already surpassed many Gaias. Normal Gaias would have to live for billions of years to reach such a realm. After all, normal Gaias were extremely lazy and would stay in place without moving, purely relying on their instincts to cultivate. Naturally, they were not as diligent as little Dumbo and had Xia Ping's assistance. I know what's going on. At this moment, Corinne appeared in front of Xia Ping. Corinne, why are you here? Weren't you observing the fusion progress of the spaceship? Xia Ping asked. Corinne waved his hand. The situation has stabilized and it is going very smoothly. There is no need to observe all the time. The reason why I came here is because I sensed that Gaia has awakened. To be honest, I more or less understand her situation. Back then, in order to nurture her into a saint-ranked Gaia, Old Master spent a lot of effort. Oh, could it be that he didn't have enough soul energy? Xia Ping looked at Corinne. No, the soul energy in her body is more than enough. The reason why Gaia has yet to advance to immortal rank is because she lacks some world origin energy. Corinne said in a deep voice. If it is Gaia who has lived for more than 1 billion years because of her own growth, as long as her primordial spirit reaches a certain level, she can naturally advance. Because after such a long period of growth, the world source within her body is actually completely enough. But Dumbo's growth rate is too fast and the time is very short. This also causes the world origin in her body to be insufficient, so this also prevents her from advancing to Saint-Tier Gaia. She has never been able to break through. Then how should we solve this problem? Xia Ping wanted to know the solution. It's very simple. Find a large amount of world origin for Gaia to devour, then this problem will naturally be solved. Corinne said, as for how to find world origin, the solution is actually in the central universe. In this universe region, new worlds are being born, nurtured, and destroyed at every moment. If we can find those newborn small worlds and plunder the world origin energy of these worlds for Gaia to devour, then Gaia will naturally break through the bottleneck and advance quickly. In fact, the reason why I am so anxious to improve Multistar's ability and let it travel everywhere in the central universe is not without this consideration. It showed a proud look, indicating that it had the Pearl of Wisdom in hand and was devising a strategy. Green Ox gritted its teeth. Seeing this cat's smug look, it wanted to punch it. What is it pretending here? I see. Xia Ping nodded, but I have one thing that is very strange. Little Dumbo is also considered to be in the lightning tribulation realm. Why did she not encounter the lightning tribulation when she broke through? Does she not need to transcend the tribulation? He felt that this matter was very strange. Of course not. The Gaia race are creatures of the natural saint realm, or rather, they themselves are the ultimate existences born from the laws of the universe's origin. They have long been recognized by the universe's origin. Their breakthrough is a matter of course, just like the growth of humans, so it will not cause a backlash from the universe's origin. Corinne explained. Xia Ping was speechless. Why is the gap between creatures so big? They desperately want to become saints, and they also have to experience the 3 calamities and 9 tribulations. It is full of difficulties. However, the Gaia race was born like this. They were recognized by the universe's origin at birth and promoted to saints. They did not even need to transcend the lightning tribulation. It was really too shameless. Beep beep. At this moment, Xia Ping's communicator rang. It was Wei Liangxing. Brother Wei, what's the matter? Xia Ping connected to his communicator and asked straightforwardly. Brother Xia, I don't know if you are interested in accepting a mission. The mission reward is quite generous, but it is a little dangerous. Wei Liangxing stated the purpose of his call. Mission. What mission? Xia Ping naturally knew that the Holy Land of Taichu would issue many missions such as cultivation missions, protection missions, killing missions, collection missions, and so on. Completing each mission would give a large number of points. Every disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu would madly accept missions to earn points, so that they could obtain a large number of cultivation resources. The mission to fight for a small world. Wei Liangxing immediately said, recently a small world was born. It is said that this world is new and contains a lot of resources. It was discovered by some masters of our human race. However, masters of other races also discovered this world, and the 2 sides had a fierce conflict and war, so they asked for help from the Holy Land of Taichu, hoping to send some masters to help. The reward for this mission is very generous. The points are distributed according to the amount of contribution. Even just participating in the mission will give you 100 points. If you make a big contribution, you can get at least 1,000 to 10,000 points. Chapter 1986. Fight for the World? Xia Ping blinked. This was a daily occurrence in the central cosmos. After all, resources were everything. Every new world represented an enormous amount of resources. Every race wanted to become stronger, so they had to occupy as many resources as possible and as many worlds as possible. Therefore, every time a new world was born, there would be extremely intense conflicts and countless deaths and injuries. This was also why the central universe was also known as the 10,000 race strife zones. For the sake of obtaining another world, there was always bloodshed and racial war. Will a sage take action? Xia Ping was worried about this. If a sage were to make a move, then they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. No saints will take action. According to the rules of the Myriad Races Convention, only mortals below the level of saints are allowed to compete in the ordinary regions. Saints are not allowed to take action. If they violate the rules, the myriad races will expel them. Wei Liangxing indicated that the sage would definitely not attack in the ordinary area. This was because the threat of a saint was simply too great. Once they made a move, they would have the power to destroy the world. How could mortals defend against them? In fact, in the primordial era, the sages would still fight shamelessly. But later on, the myriad races realized that if they continued to play like this, the ordinary people would probably all die. Moreover, the battle between sages was extremely terrifying. It would cause worlds to be destroyed one after another. This did not benefit them at all, and many people died instead. After many years of compromise, they had also reached an agreement. The saints of the ordinary districts could not take action, and only the mortals could fight for it. No matter who won or lost, they had to acknowledge it. The only place that a sage could fight over was the mystic zones. This was because the worlds that were born in the mystic zones could not be destroyed even by a sage. If they were not careful, they could even die. If we're fighting for a world, how can we be considered to have succeeded? Xia Ping asked curiously. It's simple. Find the origin of this world, then merge it with the human race's command talisman. That way, it will become part of the human race's war system and become our world. Wei Liangxing said solemnly, in fact, whoever is the first to fuse with the world's origin will be able to obtain this world. No one else is allowed to fight for it. This is also the rule of the myriad races. However, before they fuse with the world origin, any race has the right to fight for this world. No matter how many people die, it doesn't matter as long as the price is worth it. World origin. Upon hearing this, Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He was just thinking about how to find the world's origin for Dumbo to devour and advance to the Saint Realm. This mission was a good one. It gave him a chance to explore the origin of the world. What do you think? Are you interested in joining us? Wei Liangxing said. Why did you invite me? Xia Ping asked. Wei Liangxing said directly, because there are too many people who want to participate in this mission, even inner disciples. If you don't have enough strength, you don't have the qualifications to accept this mission and will be eliminated on the spot. If Brother Xia can take this task with us, I believe we can form a strong team, and the Holy Land of Taichu will also recognize our strength. He said it very bluntly. He wanted to use Xia Ping's strength and reputation to accept this mission. Alright, no problem at all. I'll accept this mission. Xia Ping waved his hand. It did not matter at all. He also wanted to see what the so-called world origin was. This was related to Gaia's future cultivation, so it was of great importance. Moreover, he also felt that the world origin energy seemed to be of great benefit to him, so he couldn't miss this opportunity to broaden his horizons. Great! After hearing Xia Ping's agreement, Wei Liangxing said excitedly, Brother Xia, due to the urgency of the mission we will have to leave in an hour. Please come to the public square of Green Jade City, we will be leaving very soon. Because this was an urgent mission, they had to set off as soon as possible. After all, this was a mission to fight for the world. If they left a little later, the fight would have already ended. All right. Xia Ping nodded. An hour later, Xia Ping came to the public square of Green Jade City. At this moment, Wei Liangxing and the other geniuses from the East Universe had all arrived. They had all advanced to the Thunder Tribulation realm. After these days of cultivation, with the help of the Holy Land of Taichu's resources, these geniuses from the East Universe who were originally at the peak of the Transcendence realm had all made breakthroughs. Brother Xia. Wei Liangxing immediately saw Xia Ping and hurriedly greeted him. Brother Wei, I didn't expect you to advance so quickly. This is really unexpected. Xia Ping looked at Wei Liangxing and the others. You're too kind, Brother Xia. This is just a result of good preparation. How can it compare to your awe-inspiring performance? Also, to participate in this mission, you have to at least be in the Thunder Tribulation realm. Transcendence realm is not qualified to participate. Wei Liangxing said modestly. Although he was also very proud of himself, it was nothing compared to Xia Ping's achievements. Even though he had advanced to the early stage of the Thunder Tribulation realm, it was still impossible for him to challenge the inner sect disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, let alone a large group of them. So, I am also not qualified to participate? Xia Ping asked. Wei Liangxing waved his hand. No, Brother Xia's reputation has long been spread throughout the Holy Land of Taichu. Although you are not in the Thunder Tribulation realm, you are stronger than them. The elders know that you are participating, so no one stopped you. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, figures immediately flew over from the sky. They were all disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. There were a total of 13 teams, each with more than a dozen people. They all landed on the public square. They immediately noticed Wei Liangxing and the others. Suddenly, a strong man in a red vest frowned and shouted, What's going on? Didn't they say that the selection of teams this time is very strict? This is a killing mission for the world, and now some new disciples who have just entered the Holy Land of Taichu are participating. Are you kidding me? Are you asking them to drag us down? Are you asking us to be their babysitters and escort them? He was very dissatisfied, feeling that Wei Liangxing and the others were dragging them down. After all, this was the Central Universe, where there were as many experts as there were clouds. The Thunder Tribulation realm was nothing. They were just slightly bigger ants and they could not be arrogant at all. Moreover, in the World War and Race War, if one was not strong enough, he or she would be killed in an instant. Generally speaking, new disciples were not allowed to participate in such a mission, because it was equivalent to suicide. What's wrong? You have a problem with me participating in this mission, and you are very dissatisfied with me. Do you want to spar with me? Xia Ping glanced sideways at the strong man in the red vest. Damn, there is actually a new disciple in the Transcendence realm. Damn, he really thinks we are babysitters. How on earth did the elders examine the qualifications? They let this drag participate. Is he trying to get points? How did he get in through the back door? Chapter 1987. Brotherly, don't be impulsive. Someone next to him saw Xia Ping, and his expression immediately changed. Obviously he recognized Xia Ping. Without saying a word, he immediately grabbed the brawny man in the red vest. He felt that things were getting out of hand, and he couldn't let this brawny man continue to court death, lest he hurt others and himself. Brother Pan, why are you pulling me back? Is it because this brat has some sort of background that scared you? How dare a rich second-generation brat act so arrogantly in the Holy Land of Taichu? Everyone here has a powerful background. How dare this guy be so arrogant? Seeing the expression on his companion's face, the brawny man in the red vest became even angrier. He thought that his companion was afraid of this brat's background and was frightened by him. What he hated the most in his life were those who took advantage of their power to bully others. It was as if they thought that just because they had a good father, they could do whatever they wanted and no one could do anything to them. Back then, his girlfriend had been stolen by a rich second generation, and he had been cuckolded. Even now, he still bore a grudge and despised those bastards with superior backgrounds. No, brotherly, this guy is Xia Ping. His companion said in a low voice. What? Xia Ping? The guy from the East Universe who caused so much trouble in the Heavenly Palace and caused so many inner disciples. Hearing this, the brawny man in the red vest was immediately startled. To be honest, he had just come out of his closed-door cultivation, so he didn't know much about what had happened in the Holy Land of Taichu. But as ignorant as he was, he had heard that there was an incredible new disciple in the Holy Land of Taichu. As soon as he entered the Holy Land of Taichu, he caused so much trouble that many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu didn't dare to go out. In the end, the elder came out in person to calm this guy down. Otherwise, who knew what kind of trouble he would cause? Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu hated this guy to the core, but there was nothing they could do. After all, they were not as powerful as him, and this was the Holy Land of Taichu, so they couldn't use their background to oppress others. But he didn't expect to meet such a legendary new disciple as soon as he accepted a task, and he provoked him as soon as he arrived. Yes, it's that guy. I think you'd better not be so arrogant. If he catches you, you'll be in big trouble, his companion hurriedly warned him. To be honest, the reason he was so afraid of Xia Ping was because he was one of the people who had been defeated by Xia Ping. He had been defeated in a single move, and it was still fresh in his memory. He was extremely afraid, and it had left a shadow in his heart. He's just a freshman. Whether or not he's that amazing, he's probably just bragging. The man in the red vest said with a guilty conscience. He was still as stubborn as ever. Before he could finish, Xia Ping stood up and grabbed the shoulder of the man in the red vest. You look like you're very dissatisfied with my participation in this mission. You even said that I'm holding you back. How exactly did I hold you back? Can you tell me everything in detail? Xia Ping said in a loud voice. Boom. Immediately, the red vest man felt a terrifying aura from Xia Ping's body. It was as if space itself had frozen, and it was as if a god of the underworld was staring at him expressionlessly from behind. All the cells in his body were giving off a strong warning, as if he had been targeted by the god of the underworld. Even his bones were trembling. Even though he was a human almighty at the middle stage of the lightning tribulation realm, a realm higher than the kid before him, he still didn't feel safe. It was as if he would turn into ashes with a single palm strike. This feeling was extremely intense. It was as if he had been targeted by a primordial beast. Beads of sweat the size of beans dripped down from his forehead. At this moment he couldn't even say a word. The surrounding people also felt this extremely oppressive aura. They didn't dare to speak carelessly, and they couldn't help but take a step back, afraid that they would be dragged into this mess. Seeing this situation, the man in the red vest was infuriated. Fuck, they're all bastards with no sense of loyalty. None of them can be relied on at critical moments. It's better to rely on yourself than on others. Cough, cough. At this moment, an elder wearing a white robe descended from the sky. He coughed and said, All right, Xia Ping, let's end this here. Don't bully your senior brother. Elder, I just want to ask him a few questions. How am I bullying him? Xia Ping blinked. The man in the red vest was so angry that he almost fainted. How was this a question? This was a threat. Didn't Xia Ping see that the people around him were too scared to stand with him? If he really wanted to ask questions, he wouldn't have behaved like this. He was obviously lying through his teeth. At the same time, he felt very aggrieved. He was an inner disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu, and a senior brother who was many years older than this kid. How could he be bullied? Was there any justice in this world? All right, stop messing around. You're very famous in the Holy Land of Taichu. Don't think that I don't know you. The elder in the white robe looked at Xia Ping grumpily. I didn't know that I was so famous. Xia Ping looked proud. The corners of the elder's mouth twitched. Being famous wasn't necessarily a good thing, especially when it was notorious. He waved his hand and said, All right, this time you're all participating in the battle for the world, so there's no need to waste time here. Hurry up and get on the rocket spacecraft and go to the rescue. This time we must seize this world. Yes. Hearing this, everyone became solemn. That was indeed the case. Although the new world was still in a state of balance between the human race and the other races, and could barely hold on for a few days, who knew how long it could last? But who knew how long it would last? If the enemy's reinforcements arrived first, then the world would belong to the enemy, and they would have come here for nothing with all their efforts wasted. Xia Ping also let go. After all, compared to the origin of the world, the quarrel with the burly man in the red vest was only a small matter. Sensing that Xia Ping's hand had left, The burly man in the red vest immediately heaved a sigh of relief. He felt as if he had just escaped from a tiger's mouth. He was very lucky. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, a silver-white spacecraft descended from the sky. Its entire body seemed to be made of rock and it was indestructible. There seemed to be dense rock runes appearing on its surface, as if no power could destroy this spacecraft. It was as solid as a rock. Xia Ping could feel that even if he attacked with his full strength, he might not be able to leave a mark on this spacecraft. This was because this spacecraft was emitting an immortal aura, as if it had been infused with an immortal-level rock life-form. Go on. The elder in the white robe waved his hand. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next second, Xia Ping and the others were immediately enveloped by an irresistible energy, and they instantly entered the rock spacecraft. Rock is about to depart. Estimated arrival in 3 days. A mechanical voice immediately sounded from inside the spacecraft. Boom. Chapter 1988. 3 days later. Rock continued to sail, passing through countless layers of spatial storms before finally approaching its destination. Xia Ping finally understood why the Central Universe was so dangerous and required a saint-level spaceship to pass through. It was because there were spatial storms everywhere in this universe. Otherwise, dimensional spaces would appear and pour out large amounts of dimensional energy, forming energy tides. This was many times more dangerous than the vacuum of the universe. Other regions of the universe were just vacuum regions. Ordinary spaceships could travel there, but the Central Universe was full of such storms. Ordinary people basically had no way to survive in the vacuum of the universe. The only safe places were the minor kiliocosms in the Central Universe. These worlds were like oases in the desert, protecting all living beings. I'm Zhuangdong, an inner disciple. I'm a few years older than all of you, so I'm qualified to speak. At this time, a middle-aged man in a green robe stood up. Before we arrive at our destination, I, Zhuangdong, would like to say a few words. This is a precaution so that we don't fail the mission and this world will be taken by other races. According to our intelligence, we're going to a place called Durian World. This is a new world that was born not long ago. There aren't many native creatures there, but it's very rich in resources and spirit energy. It's suitable for humans to live in. Unfortunately, when we human adventurers discovered this new world, we were also discovered by powerful beings from other races. The two sides fought and are still in a stalemate, so they asked for help from the Holy Land of Taichu. According to the current information, the other side's reinforcements haven't arrived yet, so we're still in a state of balance. There's no more war and no one can do anything to the other. But because it's all over, we don't know if those races have sent powerful beings to ambush us. We must be careful or we might all be wiped out. He glanced at the dozen or so teams present. Brothers, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. We all understand. Someone shouted. Okay, since you're straightforward, I'll say it directly. Zhuangdong said in a low voice, this mission is very dangerous. No one knows how many powerful beings the other side has sent, so we must unite and not be scattered. Otherwise, we'll definitely be defeated one by one. So, I want to choose someone to be the temporary leader and have everyone listen to his orders. That way, it'll be easier for us to complete the mission. Oh, what's your plan, senior brother Zhua? Wei Liangxing also felt that a snake couldn't be without a head. Someone had to be the boss in order to unify everyone's strength. My plan is very simple. We'll split into two. Zhuangdong said, one team will be in the open heading to reinforce the enemy and eliminate those who are in the way. The other team will be in the dark, lurking in the dark and waiting for the crucial moment to kill their way out and snatch the world's origin energy. Not bad, one in the light and one in the dark, one false and one real. This is in line with the military school's way of false and real. As expected of senior brother Zhua, you are indeed very experienced. Wei Liangxing's eyes lit up. He felt that this plan was feasible. The others nodded as well. They were not the kind of reckless people who would insist on sticking their heads out. They had also participated in several missions similar to the Fight for Worlds, and naturally knew that unity was the key to completing the mission. As long as they could complete the mission, it didn't matter who the boss was. When Zhuangdong heard this, his entire body felt refreshed, and a satisfied expression appeared on his face. This new student was not bad. He knew how to conduct himself well and was smart enough to see the excellence of his plan. He was a promising talent. Brother Zhua, I don't think this plan is appropriate. Xia Ping jumped out at this moment. Oh, what's wrong with it? Do you have some brilliant idea? Zhuangdong's eyelids twitched. He had a bad feeling inside. This shit-stirrer had suddenly jumped out, so it was definitely not a good thing. Could it be that this kid was dissatisfied with him sticking his head out and wanted to be the boss himself? He felt that Xia Ping wanted to be the boss himself and seize power. What do you mean by, one in the light and one in the dark? There's no need for that at all. As I say, we should just push forward and kill all the gods and Buddhas in our way, Xia Ping said carelessly, indicating that he would push forward and be invincible. Everyone's mouths twitched when they heard this. They didn't know what to say. Brother Xia, you've just arrived in the Central Universe, so you're not very familiar with this place yet. Zui Yangdong's mouth twitched as he said, you should know that there are countless races in the Central Universe, and every race is extremely powerful. Some races even have special abilities. If you're not careful, you can fail miserably. For example, some races are good at using poison, some are good at using curses, some are good at arrays, and some are good at assassination. Even if you're strong, you'll still die if you fall into these traps. You have to be careful. That's right. In the Central Universe, you have to be wretched and live an ignoble existence. You have to develop quickly in secret. That's the only way to win in the end. Many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu agreed. A true master had to be wretched. If they could be wretched, they would. If they could avoid fighting, they would avoid fighting. They would hide and develop like an old turtle. Only those who survived until the end would be the real winner. Are all the masters of the Central Universe like this? Why are they so aggrieved? Xia Ping blinked. Everything was like this. Why was this kid so annoying? The disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu gritted their teeth. Who didn't want to push forward and kill all the gods and Buddhas in their way? But it would be impossible to do that. The masters of all the races were in the Central Universe. Geniuses were everywhere, and there were as many masters as rain. Those who made a little noise were all killed. If one couldn't beat them, then 10 came. Those who dared to court death were all killed. This was the precious experience they had gained after living in the Central Universe for a long time. Although it was a little frustrating, at least they didn't die. There was still hope for the future. Junior brother Xia, I think senior brother Zui is right. He has a lot of experience. You should listen to him, Wei Liangxing said. All right. Xia Ping agreed on the surface, but he still wanted to push forward and solve this matter quickly to obtain the world's origin. Of course, he didn't need to show this. Zui Yangdong looked at Wei Liangxing happily. This junior brother was the best. He was pleasing to the eye, smart and good at flattery. Why was there such a big gap between junior brothers? Some people were just troublemakers who wanted to see the world in chaos. Boom. At this time, the rock spacecraft approached a world. The appearance of that world was like a durian. It bloomed with red light and contained vitality. We're here. Everyone looked over and knew that they had arrived at their destination. Whoosh. Chapter 1989. Boom. The rock spaceship soon arrived at the center of the durian world. There was a huge camp set up with many restrictive formations. It seemed to be a temporary camp of the human race. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xia Ping and the others immediately got out of the spaceship and arrived at the center of the camp. It seemed that the humans in the camp had already received the message and came out to greet them. It's great that you've finally arrived, said a middle-aged man in black armor. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man in black armor. When he saw that Xia Ping and the other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu had finally arrived, he breathed a sigh of relief and was overjoyed. He was the leader of this group of human adventurers. His name was Ma Yuan, and he was in the middle stage of the Thunder Retribution realm. The other adventurers were also in the Transcendence realm. In other regions of the universe, all of them were mighty figures of the human race. The so-called human adventurers were a bit like the pioneers of ancient humans and the discoverers of new continents. Because the central universe was vast and boundless, new worlds were born all the time. There might be unknown worlds that hadn't been discovered yet, but these worlds contained a huge amount of resources. Therefore, in order to obtain great wealth, countless humans went on adventures to find new worlds. Once they found a new world, they would become rich overnight. If they told the Holy Land of Taichu or the Palace of Darkness the location of this new world, these adventurers would immediately get 1% of the entire world's profits, which could last for as long as 100,000 years. Therefore, too many human adventurers set out to explore new worlds. This durian world was one of the worlds discovered by adventurers. However, adventurers couldn't be everything. They needed to have enough money to buy spaceships and powerful strength to resist all kinds of dangers. This was also a very risky profession and there was a slim chance of survival. Even so, there were countless people who wanted to be adventurers. How's the situation? The origin of this world hasn't been taken away by the demons, right? Zhuangdong immediately asked for specific information. This time, it was the demons who were competing with the human race for the Durian world. They were numerous and powerful, no less than the human race. The other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu also looked at this group of adventurers. They didn't want their trip to be in vain. Don't worry, sir. It hasn't been taken away yet. Both sides have set up restrictive formations near the origin of this world. No one can get close for now. If there's an accident, we'll notice it immediately. Ma Yuan said in a low voice. However, we've received intelligence that the demon race's reinforcements have already arrived. It's very likely that they'll launch an attack on the world's origin very soon. Fortunately, my lord, you've arrived early. Otherwise we wouldn't have any chance. There was a hint of relief in his tone. The key to the fight for the world was the speed at which they could send reinforcements. If they were not fast enough, they would be snatched away by other races. In that case, the world that they had worked so hard to discover would be useless, and they would not be able to obtain any benefits. Very good. Let's head out now and snatch this world's essence. A trace of light appeared in Zhuangdong's eyes. Since the world's origin source had not been taken away, they still had a great chance of obtaining it. There was no need to wait, they would immediately go and snatch it. Sir, how can we help you? Ma Yuan asked. There's no need for that. You guys just need to hold the rear. Also, pay attention to the movements of the Yao race to prevent any sneak attacks from them. Zhuangdong waved his hand. He didn't need the help of this group of adventurers. The many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were also very proud and confident. If they needed the help of this group of adventurers, would they still be considered as disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? Ma Yuan and the other adventurers were also very happy because they didn't need to do anything and also avoided the danger of dying. Anyway, they had already done enough to prevent the Yao race from snatching it away and for the reinforcements to arrive in time. Even if it was a great contribution, no one could deny it. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Without another word, Zhuangdong and the others immediately set off. However, they split into two groups. One group would openly attack the place where the world's origin source was located, while the other group would secretly lurk to prevent any sneak attacks from the enemy. And Xiaoping was naturally placed in the open team. No matter how one looked at it, this kid didn't seem like someone who liked to lurk. In order to prevent this guy from causing any trouble at a critical moment, it was better to be in the open. A few minutes later, they finally arrived at the center of the Durian world, which was a vast and boundless plain. At this moment, a huge ball of light with a diameter of 3,000 kilometers was sealed in the center. And this ball of light seemed to contain countless law lines, one after another wrapped around this ball of light. The entire ball of light emitted a strong aura as if it contained the truth of all the laws of the world, unfathomable. It slowly rotated, emitting a hot brilliance like the sun. That is the world's origin source. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He felt that the blood in his body was stirring. This energy of the world's origin seemed to be attracting him. If he swallowed this ball of world's origin source into his body, he would be able to immediately advance to the Thunder Retribution realm. Yes, this is the world's origin source. It is very attractive to cultivators, but it can't be destroyed at will. Once it is destroyed, the whole world will collapse. Zhuangdong said in a low voice, "This is the energy core of this world, the foundation that maintains all the laws of the world, just like the core of the optical computer. As long as you control it, you can control this world. In fact, the world's origin source is this world's sun. It can provide infinite heat and energy to all things so that all life can flourish." Sun. Xiaoping suddenly understood why so many worlds in the central universe could still emit light and heat without the existence of stars. It turned out that this world had condensed the origin source and transformed it into a sun. It constantly rose and fell so that everything operated according to its own rules. Once the sun fell, the world's origin would disappear and the world would collapse. He suppressed his instinct to swallow the world's origin source. This Durian world had already been registered by the human race and belonged to them. If he swallowed it, the world would collapse. There should be many new worlds like this in the ordinary area, so there was no need to cause such trouble. "Senior brother, the demons are here." Suddenly, a disciple from the Holy Land of Taichu immediately shouted. Many people subconsciously turned to look at him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he said that, a black demonic wind came from afar, like a black storm, carrying a terrifying sandstorm. Its momentum was terrifying, covering the sky and earth, sweeping across the world. Chapter 1990. This is a bit troublesome. So many demon powerhouses have come. Zhuiyangdong's pupils contracted as he stared at the group of demons in front of him. There were 300 of them, and they were all at least in the thunder retribution state. Their demonic aura was terrifying. Generally speaking, they would not send so many powerhouses just to fight for a small world like the Durian world. After all, the ordinary area of the central universe was very large, and many worlds would be born there. This way, their forces would be scattered, and very few people would arrive in each world. For example, they had sent over 100 powerhouses, which was already considered a strong military force. However, the demon race actually sent 300 powerhouses. They were obviously determined to win. Is there some incredible treasure in this Durian world that the demon race is determined to get? Zhuiyangdong narrowed his eyes and immediately realized that there might be some resources that the demon race needed in the Durian world, but there was too little information for him to find out anything. Human, this world is occupied by the demon race. Leave now if you don't want to die. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. A demon king of the eagle tribe stood out and shouted. He had an eagle's head and a human's body and a pair of wings on his back. He had a ferocious face, and there was a terrifying light in the depths of his eyes. It seemed to be brewing a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. No one knew how many people he had killed. That's right. Leave now or we will kill everyone today. Leave now if you don't want to die. If you make us angry, none of you will live. This is already the demon race's territory. If you dare to take another step, we will kill you without mercy. The demon kings shouted angrily. Their eyes were fierce, and their bodies emitted billowing demonic aura. Thick black smoke rose everywhere, blotting out the sky and earth. It seemed that this area was eroding into a demon kingdom. Hearing this, the group of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu was shocked. They could sense that these demon kings were all battle-hardened, and there were many powerhouses among them. If they fought, there would be heavy casualties. Not to mention the fact that the other party had the advantage in numbers. Senior brothers, well, what do we do now? Do we fight to the end or give up? Someone secretly asked Zhuiyangdong about his next plan through divine sense. Don't be anxious. Let's talk to these demon kings first. For them to mobilize so many people, I'm afraid this matter is very unusual. Let's get to the bottom of it first. We can't act rashly. We must be steady. Zhuiyangdong said in a low voice. He wanted to observe the situation and see what kind of trump cards these monster kings had in their hands. They were actually so arrogant and acted as if they had the upper hand. Everyone nodded. Without knowing the other party's trump cards, it would be foolish to act rashly. If they were not careful, they might even fall into the trap of these demon race experts. They preferred to wait and see. Scram. You're just a bunch of feathered beasts. You want to learn from others and take over the world? You're simply mimicking a parrot's tongue. None of you are qualified to steal the territory of the human race. Just at this moment, a voice exploded out like a sound wave, sweeping out in all directions. The surrounding air immediately exploded, and intense explosions appeared inch by inch, filled with boundless killing intent. Whoosh! A figure immediately flew out from the crowd and attacked the group of demon kings with unparalleled bravery. Who did it? Is there something wrong with his head? I wonder what's going on. Isn't this alerting the enemy and stirring the hornet's nest? Zhuiyangdong was alarmed and furious. He originally wanted to observe the strength of this group of demon kings, but he did not expect someone to disrupt his plans. They directly attacked the demon kings and started a battle on the spot, leaving no room for negotiation. It was obvious that in the face of such an attack, the group of demon kings would not hold back. They would naturally fight to the death. It's Xiaoping. Xiaoping attacked. Someone shouted and realized that the person who attacked was Xiaoping. It's indeed that bastard. He only wishes for the world to be in chaos. Does he think we don't die quickly enough? Zhuiyangdong was so angry that his face turned green. This bastard was arrogant and unruly. He never listened to others and did whatever he wanted. This kid was simply a thorn in his side. There are still humans who dare to attack? The Eagle Demon King was also a little dumbfounded. He did not expect that the humans who were at a disadvantage would dare to attack him at this moment. Didn't they say that they wanted to negotiate? Now, they had not even exchanged a few words and had already started a massacre. There was no room for negotiation at all. However, he was a demon king after all. He had rich combat experience and would not be frightened by such a sudden attack. He reacted instantly and attacked with his claws, trying to fight back. However, before the Eagle Demon King could react, the fist blasted towards him. The terrifying fist force shook the void as if it was a punch that could tear the earth and destroy the stars. Dong! The Eagle Demon King suddenly let out a shrill scream, like a pig being slaughtered. Its body took the punch head-on and immediately felt an extremely terrifying fist force spread towards it. It was like a sound wave spreading inch by inch. Boom. In the next second, the Eagle Demon King's body immediately shattered and completely exploded, turning into a mass of minced meat. A huge amount of blood dripped onto the ground like rain, forming a blood-colored river. Oh my God, is this the strength of a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu? In the distance, Ma Yuan and the other adventurers also saw this scene. All of them gasped. They had fought with the Eagle Demon King before and naturally knew how fierce it was. The Eagle Demon King had copper skin and iron bones. It was indestructible and comparable to a magic treasure. Ordinary power could not do anything to it. It had used its Vajra body to rampage around and kill countless of their companions. But now, with just one punch, the Hawk Demon Monarch had exploded. This power was too terrifying. Damn human. You're asking for it. Human, you're asking for it. You're asking for it. How dare you kill my big brother? I'll kill you. Go. Kill him. Tear this human's corpse into 1,000 pieces. When all the experts of the Eagle clan saw this scene, they were extremely shocked as well. Their eyes were about to split open and they were bursting with rage. They had never imagined that their companion would actually be killed by a single punch from this tiny human and split into pieces. They were truly caught off guard. Especially when they saw their companion's body turn into a mass of flesh and tendons. They were so angry that they wanted to tear the culprit into pieces immediately. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 Eagle Demon Kings flew out from among the many experts of the Demon Clan. They gathered together and activated their extremely powerful demonic powers. Suddenly there was a burst of demonic wind and black wind. Their bodies were filled with a terrifying murderous aura. The huge black fog suddenly turned into a primordial divine bird. Its two huge claws slashed down from the sky towards Xia Ping. Chapter 1991. Eagle Clan's Divine Art, Void-Tearing Technique. Seeing the huge black claws, countless cold rays of light shot toward them. Zhui Yuandong and the others were all shocked. All kinds of information about this famous Eagle Clan's divine art immediately flooded their minds. This god art could be said to be the supreme killing art of the Eagle race. It combined the bloodline god art of the Eagle race Demon King, space energy, metal energy, and so on. It tempered the sharp claws to an indestructible level. Once it burst out, the claws were like divine weapons. Ordinary magic treasures were no match for them. With one swipe, the void was torn apart and the magic treasures shattered. An ordinary planet would probably be torn into dozens of pieces by this claw. Even if one was wearing a defensive magic treasure, it would be useless. This cold light could even tear space apart. It was incomparably sharp. By relying on this art of slaughter, the experts of the Eagle Clan slaughtered in all directions in the central universe, and they ran amok without fear. They became a clan that struck terror in the hearts of others. Wherever they appeared, rivers of blood would flow and countless would die. Now, more than 20 Eagle Demon Kings used this supreme divine art at the same time. The power that erupted was simply earth-shattering, unpredictable, and invincible. Oh no, junior brother Xia is in danger. Help him immediately. Zhui Yangdong's face changed. He shouted and immediately called the other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu to help Xia Ping. Although this kid was a bit annoying, he was still a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu and an elite of the human race. They could not let him die in the hands of the Demon Clan. But before the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu could do anything, Xia Ping suddenly made a move. He grabbed with his big hand, the void trembled, and endless magic power poured out from the depths of his body. Suddenly, the magic power vibrated and quickly condensed into a dark golden spear. It was engraved with dense hell runes as if a supreme hell scripture appeared in it, exuding a chaotic, noble, and unfathomable aura. Bloodline divine art, spear of the nether god. Xia Ping held the spear tightly and threw it at the group of Eagle Demon Kings like a god of the underworld. It tore the void, and there seemed to be the will of the god of the underworld descending. Boom! Before the infernal deity spear could even get close, dark golden power surged toward it like a tidal wave, shattering the frigid light and causing the claw to shatter into countless pieces. You're right, Yang Qi said, shaking his head. How is this possible? Many of the demon kings of the eagle race could not believe their eyes. That was the supreme killing art that their eagle race was proud of. But now it was just a single strike and their killing art was easily defeated. In front of this energy, that invincible cold light was as fragile as a baby. It was as if it was not on the same level as this energy. Xiao xiao xiao. At the same time, the infernal deity spear shot out one dark golden beam of light after another, filled with boundless killing intent and the will of the infernal deity. It was as if it could plunder the souls of all living beings. Not good, run. We can't fight against this light. Retreat. Retreat. The expressions of the eagle demon kings changed drastically. They could clearly sense how terrifying this dark golden light was. The sharpness contained within it was several times stronger than their void-tearing technique. They weren't even close, but they felt as if their souls were being penetrated. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. They flapped their wings and their bodies flashed, wanting to fly far away. As the eagle raced, they had absolute confidence in their speed. Just in terms of speed, they were one of the top races. But they had underestimated the power of the spear of the nether god. The speed of this dark golden light was simply too fast. It was so fast that they could not imagine it. It was like the speed of light. One of the eagle race demon kings tried to fly away from the sky. But before he could fly a third of the distance, a dark golden light shot over and instantly pierced through his body. It was as if he was nailed in midair. Blood rained down on the ground. At the same time, he let out a shrill scream and died on the spot. No, no, no. Seeing this, some of the eagle race demon kings widened their eyes. They tried to fly away from the ground and across the sky. But it was useless. A dark golden light fell from the sky. In an instant, his entire body was pierced and he was nailed to the ground. His entire body was torn apart, and a huge pit appeared in the ground. Let's go, let's go. There were also a few eagle race demon kings who sensed that they were in trouble. They could not escape it all, so they tried to fight it head-on. They joined forces and used supreme magic. But it was useless. Their defensive magic was as fragile as tofu. The cold light of the spear of the nether god easily pierced through them, and their entire bodies were torn apart. Bang bang bang. A few seconds later, more than 20 eagle race demon kings were all killed. There was a pile of blood and pieces of the eagle race demon kings' bodies on the ground. It was a scene of devastation. They're all dead. Seeing this, Zhu Yangdong could not help but gasp. His eyes widened and he looked at Xia Ping, who was calm and composed in midair, in disbelief. He had heard of Xia Ping's reputation and knew that he was a thorn in the side of the Holy Land of Taichu. He beat up many inner sect disciples and made them not dare to go out. But if he hadn't seen it, he would still be skeptical, wondering if it was an exaggeration. After all, the more rumors spread, the more ridiculous they became. But now it was different. He saw Xia Ping's battle process with his own eyes, and it completely subverted his imagination. This kind of strength was probably many times more terrifying than the rumors. Freak, really freak. This is a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. How can he be so powerful? Is he still human? Many adventurers were also frightened and couldn't help but swallow. They had also heard that those who came from the Holy Land of Taichu were all monstrous and peerless geniuses, the kind that only appeared once in 10,000 years. Even so, it was still too exaggerated. Those were all demon kings of the Thunder Tribulation realm. Every single demon king was an existence that wreaked havoc in the world. They were the overlords of a region and wreaked havoc everywhere. But now they were killed as if they were grass. Moreover, this kid was only at the peak of the Transcendence realm. There was a big gap between them, but now it was like a father beating his son. Who was the real Thunder Tribulation demon king? Brother Xia has become more freakish. Wei Liangxing and the other geniuses from the Eastern Universe were also twitching. Even though they had seen the scene of Xia Ping's battle, they were still shocked by this scene. No matter how many times they saw it, they still felt it was incredible. Originally, they thought that after advancing to the Thunder Tribulation realm, their cultivation would improve a lot, and they should have slightly shortened the gap between them and Xia Ping. Now they felt that they had thought too much. Chapter 1992. Impossible. With just one strike, over 20 demon kings of the eagle race were annihilated? What kind of joke is this? Since when were eagle demon kings so weak? Some demon kings couldn't believe it and were shocked. That's right. This kid is only at the peak of the Transcendence realm. How can he be so monstrous? When did such a terrifying young expert appear in the human race? Some demon kings found it unbelievable. No matter how they thought about it, they felt that the kid would only be killed by the eagle demon kings. But now the situation was reversed. It didn't make sense at all. Impossible. He must have used some secret technique to hide his cultivation. He's definitely an old monster at the peak of the Lightning Tribulation realm. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to have such combat power. I see. That makes sense. Understand my ass. Even if he's an old monster at the peak of the lightning tribulation realm, it's still very terrifying to be able to kill over 20 experts of the same level. He's a great enemy of our demon race. He's already so terrifying now. If he advances to the sage realm, will our demon race still be able to survive? Kill him. We must kill this human. We can't let the human race have another terrifying sage. Many demon kings' eyes emitted terrifying killing intent. They stared at Xia Ping. What happened just now had stirred up their killing intent. It didn't matter if they could obtain this world or not. In short, this monstrous human had to die. He had to die without a burial place. Kill him. At this moment, a voice appeared in the depths of the void. It spread to every corner of the void, allowing all the demon kings to hear it clearly. This voice was strange and mysterious. No one could tell where it came from. Hiss, hiss, in an instant some demon kings moved. Black shadows appeared. They twisted and wriggled in the depths of the void, appearing around Xia Ping in an instant. Immediately, demon kings with snake heads and human bodies appeared. They were densely packed, numbering up to 50. They held black longswords in their hands. The swords were wriggling like venomous snakes. Swish, swish, swish. Sharp swords tore through the air, hissing like venomous snakes. They were all demon kings of the snake race. They were true assassination experts who could hide in the void. At the same time, they were adept at using swords. They didn't move, but once they did, they were unstoppable. Among the many demon clans, the Snake Clan was a famous assassin. The swords in their hands could cut through the void, and their bodies could wander in the depths of the void, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Most of the time, the enemy would not even know what was going on before they were stabbed to death by the snake experts. Not to mention these were all Snake Clan demon kings, experts among experts. After countless years of tempering, they had long honed their assassination swordsmanship to an unfathomable level and had endless mysteries. They charged towards Xia Ping, just like a deadly strike from a peerless assassin. Blood splattered everywhere. Oh no, they actually sent out assassination experts. These demon kings are too despicable. The expressions of Zhui Yangdong and the others changed drastically. They were from the Central Universe, so they naturally knew how terrifying the experts of the snake race were. They could appear and disappear without a trace, and countless peak human experts had died to the assassinations of the snake race experts. However, the speed of these snake race experts was simply too fast. Even if they wanted to go up and help, they would not be able to make it in time. In a battle between experts, victory and defeat would often be determined in an instant. Boom, Xia Ping stood in midair, expressionless. He did not move, and immediately circulated the cultivation technique in his body, Dark North Body Protection Technique. Suddenly, his body was immediately wrapped in a mass of airflow, and dense Kunping runes appeared, showing a water blue color, as if a mass of seawater had wrapped his body airtight. Dong dong dong. At this moment, the long sword stabbed Xia Ping's body mercilessly, and immediately there was a crackling sound. The long swords were instantly shattered into pieces by the Dark North Body Protection Technique. What? What's going on? I just used the supreme killing technique of the snake race, but I can't even shake this kid's protective aura. Are you kidding me? What kind of protective divine power is this? Our assassination technique has no effect, and even his protective aura can't be broken. It's incredible. If the defense can't be broken, how can we fight? Monster, this human is a real monster. I have never seen such a human before. How can he be so powerful? All the snake race monster kings were stunned. They had assassinated countless experts before, but they had never seen such a thing. They had clearly stabbed this human, but he was not injured at all. On the contrary, the swords in their hands were shattered one after another, and a terrifying force was transmitted to them. The void trembled, and the web between their thumb and index finger went numb. It was as if the amount of force they used to attack was reflected back with the same amount of force. One had to know that the long swords in their hands were all made from 10,000-year-old cold iron, golden snake copper, golden sand, and other materials. They were incomparably sharp and indestructible. But now they were actually shattered into pieces. One could imagine how terrifying this force was. For a moment, all the snake race monster kings were stunned. This was the most unbelievable thing they had ever experienced in their lives, and they could not understand it at all. But such a daze was extremely fatal in a battle between supreme experts. Incinerate, solar furnace. Xia Ping formed seals with his hands and the blood in his body boiled. More than 300 million Hell Crow cells were trembling, and terrifying Hell Crow flames surged out from the depths of his body. Within a single breath, With his body as the center, countless flames instantly formed a massive solar furnace. Tens of thousands of gold crow spell symbols were carved on the surface of the furnace, releasing a magical and powerful sense of power. At the same time, terrifying flames were born from the depths of the furnace, burning in all directions. It was as if they were burning the entire Inferno realm. It was so terrifying that there was no end to it. Damn it, I can't touch these flames. This is a heavenly flame, extremely destructive. It won't stop until it burns its target to ashes. Retreat, retreat immediately. Wait for the next assassination opportunity, don't fight him head-on. Not good, we can't retreat. What's going on? Why is my body suddenly burning up? Damned human, what have you done? What have you done to my body? Ah. Immediately, the snake demon kings let out shrill cries like pigs being slaughtered. This was because they discovered that a ball of fire had been born within their bodies and was beginning to burn wildly. They were horrified and tried to use their magic power to extinguish the flames in the group, but it was of no use. Instead, by using the magic power in their bodies as fuel, the flames burned even more vigorously. Bang bang bang. In an instant, the bodies of these snake race monster kings instantly transformed into huge torches. The terrifying flames blazed up into the sky, burning tens of miles away. Chapter 1993. Xia Ping made a grabbing motion, and the soul energy left behind by the dead snake demon kings and eagle demon kings were instantly devoured and refined, quickly condensing into soul crystals. Without a word, he instantly placed them into the solar furnace and began refining them. While massive soul energy surged into the depths of his primordial spirit, constantly increasing the power of his primordial spirit and the immense magic power in the depths of his purple mansion. He felt his cultivation improving bit by bit, and he seemed to be getting closer and closer to the lightning tribulation realm. Not bad soul energy. As expected of a lightning tribulation realm demon king from the central cosmos. Just the soul energy alone is more than twice as strong as the demon kings from other regions. This is extremely beneficial to me. Since you want to kill me, I won't let you live. All of you can die. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a frightening cold light, and a terrifying killing intent surged out of his body. The surrounding tens of millions of kilometers trembled, as though it had turned into a blood-colored world of slaughter. Feeling this boundless killing intent, Wei Liangxing and the others' hair stood on end, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Even though this killing intent wasn't targeted at them, they still felt their hair stand on end, as though they had fallen into an icy cavern. They couldn't imagine that if this killing intent was specifically targeted at them, they probably wouldn't even be able to move. Martial Path Mystique, Great Yin-Yang Tablet Smashing Hand. In an instant, Xia Ping used the Great Yin-Yang Tablet Smashing Hand and grabbed at the void. Rumbled, the void within a radius of tens of millions of kilometers collapsed, and this huge hand instantly grabbed the heaven and earth energy within a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. It was as though a god or demon was shattering the world and creating a new universe. This huge hand crushed down from the void and there was nowhere to hide. It was as though the sky was collapsing, and the mountains and rivers were collapsing. It produced terrifying destructive power, and the surrounding air was exploding crazily. Bang bang bang, the many demon kings were caught off guard. They didn't expect this human to be so daring. He was clearly just one person, but he actually dared to attack them at the same time. Didn't this kid know that this was like an ant trying to shake a tree, or an egg striking a rock? How could it be like this? For a moment they couldn't react in time. Some of the demon kings in front of them couldn't dodge in time and were instantly blasted into pieces by the attack. Their entire bodies were pulverized and turned into meat paste. A crater with a diameter of several thousand kilometers was instantly blasted into the ground. Cracking sounds rang out as countless cracks densely covered the ground like spider webs. Bastard. He's just one person, yet he dares to attack us. Just how much are you looking down on us? Do you really think we're so easy to bully? Kill him. Let's go together and kill this arrogant human. Many of the monster kings were furious. They had never encountered such a thing before. They were actually beaten up by a puny human in public. They were easily squashed to death like chickens. If word of this got out, the demon kings would lose all face. They must beat this human into minced meat to avenge their dead companions. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In midair, the monster kings began to fight, unleashing supreme divine abilities. One divine ability array after another appeared, densely arranged in the depths of the void. A lion monster king unleashed Lion Roar, which contained the lion demon subduing mantra and the power of Buddhist divine abilities. It was grand, vast, and invincible. It was as if a Vajra with glaring eyes had walked out to subdue demons. A bee demon monarch attacked, transforming into thousands of terrifying venomous bees that formed a massive venomous bee array. At the same time, they blasted out thousands of venomous needles. Each needle contained the power to break through layers of astral energy and contained a strange poison. Even a lightning tribulation realm monster king would foam at the mouth and fall to the ground after being poisoned. They would be poisoned to death in a short time. This was the terrifying poison of the bee race. Absolute bee venom. A spider monster king also made a move. They spat out black spider silk one after another, forming a terrifying net that crushed down from the void, seemingly wanting to restrain Xia Ping. Such spider silk was indestructible like 10,000-year-old ice. Even a peerless spirit artifact wouldn't be able to damage it at all. This was also a precious material for many treasures. Once one was entangled by the spider silk, it would be like falling into a swamp. There was no way to escape. While thousands upon thousands of divine ability grand formations crushed down from the void like countless falling stars, destroying the heavens and the earth. They wouldn't stop until Xia Ping was blasted into ashes. Many monster kings joined forces. It was like 10,000 kings appearing together, causing the world to turn dark. Insignificant tricks. Do you think such insignificant strength is worthy of attacking me? All of you can die. Xia Ping wasn't moved. His heart was as calm as the sky. He didn't feel any threat. He had experienced things that were more dangerous than this many times. In an instant he used the supreme divine ability of the Heaven and Earth sect, Great Yin-Yang Tablet Smashing Hand. He circulated the 9 violet palaces in his body and magic power surged out. He struck out 18 palms towards the void. Every palm struck out in a different area, covering a large area, forming a dragon-subduing demon formation. The palm imprints condensed into a solid form, turning into a dark golden palm. There were densely packed patterns on it as if it contained a supreme Tao scripture. Yin and Yang energies intertwined in the center of the palm, forming a universe. It was like 2 black and white fish swimming around. When these palm imprints landed, it was as if a god had descended into the world, destroying the mortal world and shaking the universe. Bang bang bang. With just one strike, the countless divine ability arrays in the sky were smashed into a frenzy. They were instantly smashed into balls of enormous energy and completely shattered. It was as if a planet had exploded. Ah! Instantly, the monster kings let out shrill screams. They couldn't withstand such violent power. It was like breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. The force seeped into their bodies. In just a few breaths of time, their bodies shattered into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. Oh my god! Zhuangdong and the others stared with their eyes wide open. This kid was just too violent and invincible. Those monster kings were terrifying experts who had experienced many battles and all of them had incredible bloodline divine abilities. But under this palm they had no effect at all. This was using brute force to break technique. No matter how exquisite and strange the divine ability was, under absolute power, it was instantly turned to dust. The 18 palms cleared out an area. Not only did it destroy all the divine abilities of the monster race, but it also killed nearly all the monster kings. They were all scattered and blood flowed like a river. The monster kings were terrified to the extreme. When they looked at Xia Ping's eyes, it was as if they were looking at a peerless demon. He was arrogant and unstoppable. They even saw that Xia Ping didn't plan to stop and seemed to want to follow up. Damn it, night devils, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and attack. Could it be that you're only willing to attack after we've all been killed? Chapter 1994. Hee demon race, you guys are simply too weak. To think that a puny human would be able to kill you guys and make you run for your lives. Working together with puny demon kings like you is a disgrace to our night demon race. But you can't blame these demon kings. That human is just too strong. He's so strong that even I'm a little shaken. The human race is indeed one of the top races in the universe. They actually have such a peerless genius. Even the cub of the primordial divine beast can't compare to him. It's a pity that such a human genius is about to die in the hands of us night demons. I'm so excited. It's such a great thing to be able to kill such a human genius so easily. Let me kill him. I'll smash his head with my own hands. Just then, a strange sound came from the depths of the void. It reverberated in all directions. No one knew where the sound came from. Whoosh! As soon as the voice finished, a cloud of black fog surged out from the depths of the void. In a few breaths' time, The black fog enveloped everything within a radius of billions of kilometers, turning the region into a world of darkness. In this world of black fog, the black fog even had the effect of interfering with spiritual power. The divine senses of ordinary lightning tribulation realm cultivators couldn't reach more than a kilometer, and it could even block their 5 senses. Damn it, the demons actually worked with the night demon race. What are they trying to do? The two races are working together to divide this world? The expressions of Zhuangdong and the others changed. They immediately recognized the enemy that had suddenly appeared. It was the famous night demon race in the central universe. This race was extremely terrifying. They appeared at night and had the ability to control black fog. If they appeared in the dark, they would be several times more powerful than usual. Moreover, the night demon race was elusive in the dark. They were true masters of assassination and were also proficient in spatial abilities. It had always been the night demon race assassinating others. No one had ever plotted against the night demon race. Immediately, Zhuangdong and the others became vigilant. In this world of black fog, the night demon race could attack at any time. If they were careless, they would definitely be killed. Moreover, they didn't know how many experts of the night demon race had come. This made them even more uneasy. There was nothing more terrifying than the unknown. Foolish human, die in the hands of the night demon race. I will definitely take revenge for killing so many of my monster kings today. Seeing that the night demon clan had finally made a move, the remaining demon kings instantly relaxed. They believed that if the night demon clan's experts made a move, they would be invincible. Even if they could not defeat this kid, they could escape at any time in the black fog world. Don't be in such a hurry to kill this kid. That guy isn't that easy to kill. A monster king said solemnly, we should refine this world's origin source while we're trapping these humans and make it our monster race's world. That's the goal of our mission. Although it was very angry, it still remained calm. Indeed, the most important thing is to seize this durian world. Once we control this world, this group of people will no longer be a concern. We can even borrow the power of this world's origin to wipe out these damned humans in one fell swoop and completely annihilate them. Go. Refine this world's essence immediately. The monster kings made a prompt decision. They planned to take drastic measures. Even if that human had countless trump cards, as long as they could trap him for a while, they would be able to refine this world. By then, it would be useless no matter how powerful this human was. You still want to take the opportunity to refine this world's origin source and try to take drastic measures. Do you think I'll let you do that and do whatever you want? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the monster kings calmly. Hee, foolish human, your opponent is the night demon race now. How dare you look around here? There's no time for you to worry about other things now. You should worry about your own life first. Hee, I found this kid's flaw. Go and die. His head belongs to me. I'm going to capture his corpse and make it into a specimen. It'll definitely be an excellent collection. In the darkness, voices were heard from all directions. No one knew where these voices were coming from. These voices also had the effect of disturbing one's mind. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, the black fog rumbled like a huge dragon turning its body. It suddenly transformed into sabers, spears, swords, halberds, hammers, etc., all of which shot towards Xia Ping. Each of these weapons contained terrifying spatial power, sharpness, and darkness power. It was as though they were able to pierce through everything, the killing intent of the god of darkness. Still trying to act mysterious here. Do you really think that I can't do anything to you? Xia Ping was already impatient. He stomped his right foot on the ground lightly. Instantly, a strong divine will surged from his body and shrouded the surroundings silently. True disintegration of illusions. Buzz buzz, instantly, the space within a radius of billions of miles seemed to be distorted by the mental power, creating an illusory space that was independent of the real world. It completely separated the black fog world. What's going on? Why did that kid disappear? In the darkness, the monster kings of the night demon race were shocked. They realized that Xia Ping's figure had disappeared without a trace. It was as though he didn't exist in this world anymore. This was simply unimaginable. Because in this world of night, it was basically the territory of the night demon race. In the country of night, no enemy could hide from their eyes. But now that this human had actually disappeared, they had a bad feeling in their hearts. The arrogance from before instantly disappeared. What replaced it was fear, unease, and terror. They had no idea what this human had done. Damn it, what's going on? Why do I feel so tired? Yeah, I'm so tired. It's like I haven't rested in a few years. Everyone be careful. This kid is using a mental attack on us. We can't be careless. Wake up immediately. A monster king of the night demon race shouted, reminding everyone to be careful. But this wasn't something that could be woken up just because they wanted to. Under the powerful illusory power, they instantly fell unconscious. Bang bang bang. As these night demons fell unconscious, the night territory from their bodies disappeared. All the black fog retreated and quickly retreated into the depths of the dimensional space. At that moment, there were a dozen or so monster kings of the night demon race lying on the ground. They were snoring loudly, and some were even drooling as though they were having a sweet dream. Fuck, a bunch of trash from the night demon race. Previously, they bragged so much that they were like the god of assassination. They even said that if this matter was left to them, they would definitely be able to stop this human. Now they haven't even been taken down yet. When the monster kings saw this, they scolded loudly. They were so angry that their noses were crooked. They hadn't even refined the source of the world, and this bunch of reinforcements of the night demon race had all been captured. Was there still justice in this world? Chapter 1995. Whoosh. Xia Ping waved his hand. Hell special ability, soul-binding chains. Suddenly, black chains quickly condensed and extended from the void. The 20 unconscious night demon kings on the ground were immediately tied up. These black chains were covered with dense hell runes. They had the power to lock souls. Once locked by the soul-binding chains, even the soul would be trapped. Unless the other party's soul energy surpassed Xia Ping's, they would never be able to break free. The more they struggled, the stronger the soul-binding chains would be, and the more pain they would suffer. Although these night demon kings were powerful, it was impossible for their soul energy to surpass Xia Ping's. If others tried to break the soul-binding chains by force, they would destroy the chains along with their souls. The two sides had already merged together. This was the horror of the hell special ability. It targeted the soul and could not escape. Since ancient times, once trapped by the soul-binding chains of the hell prison, not many souls could break free. Even gods and demons could be locked. Damn it. Run. Seeing this, the demon kings could not help but have goosebumps. A terrible chill surged from the bottom of their hearts. They felt that this human's strength was too unfathomable. They could not defeat him at all. Now, even their helpers, the night demon kings, had fallen into this human's hands. They had completely failed to fight for the Durian world this time. It was impossible for them to refine the origin of this world. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without a word, they immediately fled into the distance. But Xia Ping had already noticed their movements. There was no way he would let them escape. True solution of illusion. With a thought, a strong divine consciousness instantly enveloped the land. As if a god or demon had descended, it covered the group of demon kings in the distance, instantly making them fall into an endless illusion. Bang, bang. In the next second, these demon kings also followed in the footsteps of the night demon kings. One by one they fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. They passed out and lost consciousness. Then these demon kings were also tied up by Xia Ping with the soul-binding chains, unable to move. That's it. Zhuang Dong and the others looked at each other in shock. When they accepted this task, they were already prepared to lose some disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu. After all, every battle for the World War was extremely cruel, and one would either die or be injured. But now, not only did they not suffer any casualties, they didn't even have to do anything. They just stood by and watched, and the battle was over. This caused them to have no sense of accomplishment at all. It was as if they'd relied on hugging onto Xia Ping's thigh to complete the mission, and a trace of indescribable grievance instantly surged out from their hearts. My lord, are these the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? He's really too powerful. He's only at the peak of the Law Phase realm and he's alone, but he actually defeated this group of demon kings so easily. Ma Yuan and the other adventurers were filled with admiration. They had truly witnessed what it meant to be a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. They were countless times more terrifying than the rumored geniuses. It was no longer a big deal for them to challenge those at a higher level than them. It was no wonder that they had never been able to join the Holy Land of Taichu. Before they were not convinced, but now they were completely convinced. Compared to such a monster, they were all mediocre. Strange, why didn't the other lords make a move? Do you still need to ask? Lord Xia can definitely defeat them by himself. There's no need for the other lords to make a move. Indeed. If even Lord Xia has such terrifying strength, then Lord Zhua and the others, who are at a higher level than Lord Xia, must be even more extraordinary. It's completely unimaginable. He can fight a group of Thunder Tribulation Realm demon kings alone at the Law Phase realm. If he advances to the Thunder Tribulation realm, doesn't that mean he can fight against immortal saints? Impossible. That's a bit too exaggerated. It's a bit exaggerated, but it's said that the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness may have such monstrous existences. Many adventurers discussed and looked at Zhuangdong and the others with admiration. However, hearing these words, Zhuangdong and the others all blushed and felt very ashamed. To be honest, their strength was far inferior to Xiaoping's. They were not on the same level. Their strength was probably about the same as these demon kings. Even if they were a little stronger, there was a limit. In a life-and-death battle, it was still unknown who would win and who would lose. But now, because of Xiaoping, this group of adventurers actually thought that they were monstrous experts who could challenge those at a higher level, even comparable to immortal saints. They felt extremely guilty. However, they were also unwilling to refute because wouldn't that be admitting that they were far inferior to Xiaoping? Only fools would do such a shameful thing. Lord Zhua, I don't know how your strength is compared to Lord Xia's. I'm afraid it's far superior. Someone asked curiously. Shut up. What are you talking about? Lord Zhua is a peak Thunder Tribulation Realm expert. He's only one step away from breaking through to Sage. This kind of strength is not to be underestimated. How can he be inferior to Lord Xia? You really don't need to think before saying such words. Ma Yuan bellowed, reprimanding the adventurer with righteous words. I'm sorry, it's true. I was reckless. That person apologized repeatedly. Sir Zhua, my subordinate doesn't know any better. I hope you can forgive him and forgive him this time. Ma Yuan apologized sincerely. No. This is just a small matter, It's nothing. Zhuangdong was extremely embarrassed and didn't know what to say. He wanted to boast about his strength, but Xiaoping was here. If Xiaoping heard him and slapped him in the face, wouldn't he be humiliated in front of so many people? To be honest, he wasn't worried about others, but Xiaoping was a shit stirrer. It was very likely that he would do such a thing. This bastard seemed to like to bully his senior brothers. He was simply a demon. No matter how he thought about it, Wei Liangxing and his junior brothers were still the cutest. Senior brothers, well, how should we deal with these demon kings? Xiaoping walked over, dragging a bunch of demon kings behind him like they were goods. He dragged them over, stirring up a cloud of dust. Seeing this scene, the mouths of Zhuangdong and the others twitched. These demon kings were existences on the same level as them. They were the strongest experts among sages and could be considered big shots. However, they were beaten unconscious by Xiaoping and ended up being dragged around like tires. If they could return alive, it would probably leave an indelible psychological scar in their hearts for the rest of their lives. Chapter 1996. Damn it, what is going on? Why am I tied up? When did we get ambushed? How did this happen? What kind of chains are these? Why can't we break free? Human, what did you do to us? Human, let me go. If you have the balls, let me go and fight for 300 rounds. All the monster kings realized that they were tied up. They were shocked and furious. They tried to struggle, but no matter how much strength they used, they couldn't break free. The more they tried, the tighter the black chains became. At the same time, a terrifying pressure spread out. It was as if their souls were being strangled and they were about to suffocate. They instantly felt despair. They knew that they couldn't break free from the black chains and couldn't escape from the human. They were completely screwed this time. What are you shouting for? If you shout again, I'll roast all of you. Xiaoping glanced at them. Hearing this, all the monster kings trembled in fear. They could feel the seriousness in this human's words. He really wanted to roast all of them. Shameless human, what kind of tricks did you use to ambush us? If you have the balls, let me go and fight for 300 rounds. This time, I will definitely turn defeat into victory. A night demon monster king shouted. He was unconvinced and felt that he had lost for no reason. He didn't know how he was captured by this human. It didn't make sense at all. That's right. What kind of hero is plotting against us? If you have the balls, let's fight again. Only then will I be convinced by you. Another night demon monster king was also unconvinced. Convinced your ass. Why do I need you to be convinced? You still want to turn defeat into victory? Do you think I will give you that chance? With a slap, Xiaoping slapped the two night demon monster kings to the ground. Instantly, two huge craters appeared. There was a cracking sound and the ground cracked. Their heads were bloody and they looked really pitiful. Just a little bit more and their heads would have been turned into minced meat. When the other demon kings of the night demon race saw this, they were so frightened that they didn't dare to speak anymore. They were afraid that they would follow in the footsteps of those two fools. If they had used a little more strength, those two would probably have died. Many of the monster kings were speechless. They felt that this group of night demon monster kings was crazy. At this time they still wanted him to release them and turn the tables. Did they really think they were stupid? This group of night demon kings had probably never tasted such a miserable failure in their lives. Now they were so angry that they didn't even think before they spoke. Junior brother Xia, don't kill them now. We still have some information that we need to interrogate. Zhuangdong said. What's the point of interrogating them? What's the point of keeping them? We might as well eat them directly. Xia Ping said carelessly. Zhuangdong looked like he was having a headache. He knew that it was impossible to reason with this kid. He thought for a moment and said, Junior brother Xia, actually keeping these demon kings as captives is very beneficial. What benefits? Xia Ping asked curiously. Capturing these demon kings alive is actually very beneficial, Zhuangdong explained. If you sell these demon kings to the Holy Land of Taichu, each one can be sold for 1,000 points. Right now there are at least 100 demon kings here. You can get at least 100,000 points. Is that so? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Of course, because capturing demon kings alive is very rare. Ordinary people can't do it, Zhuangdong said in a low voice. He didn't expect Xia Ping to be able to capture so many demon kings alive. As for why the Holy Land of Taichu is willing to spend 1,000 points to buy these demon kings, it's because we can use these demon kings as hostages and extort ransom from the races behind them. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Is there such a thing? Are they willing to pay the ransom? Of course they are. After all, these demon kings are the elites of the major races. Some of them even have the chance to become demon saints. No one is willing to give up on such experts as long as the price is right. Zhuangdong said that this had already become an unwritten rule in the Central Universe. If they were captured, they could be ransomed with money. All right. Xia Ping nodded and agreed. These demon kings were worth 100,000 points. There was no need to kill them. Hearing this, Zhuangdong heaved a sigh of relief. He turned to look at the group of demon kings. What exactly is in this durian world? Why did you send so many experts here? You even joined forces with the night demons. If there weren't huge benefits in this world, you wouldn't have done this. What did you find in this place? Hearing this, the eyes of the demon kings flickered, but no one said anything. As expected, let's burn them all to death. Xia Ping rubbed his chin and stared at the group of demon kings with a strong murderous intent. The hearts of the demons tightened. Think about it carefully. This world is already under the control of the human race. Even if you don't tell us this, we will find out sooner or later. Zhuangdong said in a low voice, but if you tell us now, I can still capture you as captives and give you a chance to be ransomed. Otherwise you will have to die. He used both the carrot and the stick. Under Xia Ping's threat and Zhuangdong's dissuasion, the demon kings no longer had any backbone. Alright, I can tell you about this, but you must promise not to kill us. A demon king said and looked at Xia Ping nervously. Don't worry, there's no benefit in killing you. There's no need to do that. Zhuangdong said. The demon king finally made up his mind and said, Alright, actually not long ago, we discovered a huge mithril mine in this durian world. What? What he said was simply earth-shattering. Zhuangdong and the rest were stunned, and their eyeballs almost popped out because they knew how important the mithril mine was. Mithril was a special mineral born in the world. It was rare and extremely precious. If mithril was added to a Dharma treasure, it could immediately increase the power of the Dharma treasure by at least 30%. Sometimes, mithril was also used to refine sage weapons. It could be said to be a strategic resource and countless races were fighting for it. If a mithril mine was discovered, it would simply be an earth-shattering wealth, which would increase the value of the durian world by more than 10 times. No wonder you've sent out all your elites and even cooperated with the night demons. It turns out that you've discovered a mithril mine. Zhuangdong and the rest came to a sudden realization and finally understood the reason. If the Holy Land of Taichu knew that there was a mithril mine in the durian world, they would have sent more than a dozen teams over. They would have sent hundreds of teams over in full force. The many monster kings had helpless looks on their faces. So what if they sent out all their elites? In the end, they still encountered this monster from the human race. To think that a single person could beat them to such a state. They really had 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Chapter 1997. We're rich this time. Zhuangdong was very excited. There's no time to lose. Let's immediately refine the source of this world and make it our world. He didn't expect that there was a mithril mine in this durian world. This was incredible news. Few worlds had mithril mines, and finding one was like getting rich overnight. Although the Holy Land of Taichu still had the biggest profit in this world, those who completed the task could also get great benefits, several times more than before. The other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were also very excited. They knew that participating in this task was the right choice. Otherwise, how could they get so many benefits? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without saying a word, they immediately arrived at the center of this plain, where the source of the world was located. Dong. Zhuiyang Dong and the others immediately destroyed the restriction formation nearby. Suddenly, the source of the world appeared in front of everyone, like a sun, emitting hot energy. This is the source of the world. How should I refine it? As Xia Ping approached the world origin, he could feel his body stirring. It was as if he wanted to devour this sun, but he suppressed the impulse in his heart. Even if he didn't swallow it, just standing near the source of the world, he felt that his cultivation was also improving at a speed visible to the naked eye, and even his mental strength was enhanced. Before we set off, the elder gave me a talisman of human path. As long as I integrate this talisman into the source of the world, I can completely refine it. Zhuiyang Dong waved his hand and immediately took out a golden talisman from his body. It was engraved with dense lines, exuding the aura of the divine path, grand, deep, and bright. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, this talisman of human path instantly sank into the source of the world. Rumble, in an instant, this golden talisman expanded against the wind, instantly enveloping the source of the world. Countless talismans emerged, as if turning into supreme scriptures, suppressing everything. The surrounding people could not withstand this airwave and were instantly shaken thousands of kilometers away. These runes turned into chains, wrapping around the world's source energy. It was as if they had completely fused together. Even the entire durian world seemed to be enveloped by an inexplicable energy. Deep in the void, chains of order extended over and penetrated into every corner of this world. It was as if these chains of order were like anchors, holding the world in place. What's going on? The world is moving? Xia Ping's eyes flashed as he sensed that the durian world seemed to be moving. Junior brother Xia, you guessed correctly. It is indeed moving. Zhuiyang Dong laughed and said, this world's essence has been implanted with human Dao talismans, which have merged with the 900 million human world formations, forming a peerless great formation. Under the guidance of this formation, this world will also move quickly until it reaches the territory controlled by our human race. That way no one will be able to steal it. Unbelievable. Xia Ping was astonished. They had actually refined the 900 million worlds into a peerless great formation. If these worlds joined forces and released their power at the same time, the power would be unimaginable. Even sages would be killed. The reason why the human race had spent countless years to build such a peerless great formation was to deal with the invasion of the abyss demons in the near future. As long as these worlds were built like iron, no matter how powerful the abyss demons were, they would not be able to attack the human race's territory. They would be invincible. Seeing this, the Monster King's faces turned pale. They knew that their mission this time was a complete failure. The world's source energy had been merged with the human race, and they had no chance of making a comeback. Now, they had even become captives of the human race. If they could survive, perhaps only the race behind them would be willing to pay a huge price to redeem them. Suddenly, Xia Ping sensed an enormous, pure energy surging out from the origin of the world. It spread in all directions and seeped into his body through his pores. Instantly, he felt as if he was in a sauna, bathing in endless heat. His body felt light. This is a great opportunity. Don't miss it, everyone. Zhuiyang Dong seemed to know the way. He seemed to have experienced this many times. This is the enormous energy that the origin of the world inadvertently emits during the process of the world's fusion. This is of great benefit to us humans. If we swallow and refine this energy, we can save at least thousands of years of time in condensing magical power. This is a great opportunity for you. It will be of great benefit to you, but how much you can refine is up to you. The other inner disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were also familiar with this. They immediately sat on the ground, meditated, and swallowed the pure source energy. In fact, this was also one of the hidden benefits of competing for the world mission. Not only could they gain points, but swallowing the source energy was no less than taking a large number of elixirs. Seeing this, Wei Liangxing and the others did not want to be left behind. They all sat down and swallowed the source energy. After a few minutes, they all stopped cultivating. A glimmer of light appeared in their eyes, and they all sighed inwardly. Because the world source energy was so enormous that even a trace of it was enough to make their bodies explode. After only a few minutes of swallowing, they felt that their bodies were in a state of energy saturation. Even if they wanted to continue swallowing and refining, it was impossible. What's going on? Junior brother Xia is still swallowing? Someone immediately noticed Xia Ping's situation. Everyone looked over and found that Xia Ping was standing in the same place. With his body as the center, thousands of kilometers around him seemed to have formed an absolute domain, and a huge amount of source energy was instilled into his body. It was like a whale swallowing its prey, shamelessly devouring all of the origin energy, leaving nothing behind. Damn, what a freak. How is his body structured? How can he swallow so much energy? Isn't he afraid of bursting? Someone was stunned. Bursting my ass. Can't you see that his body is fine? It's like a black hole. There's no bottom line at all. Some people were so jealous that their intestines turned green. They were really entering a mountain of gold empty-handed. Even if they risked their lives, they could only take a few gold bars. After all, people only had 2 hands and they couldn't take much even if they tried. But Xia Ping was different. This guy cheated. He had a space ring on him and he took a bunch of gold bars. He even wanted to empty the mountain of gold. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu hurriedly left Xia Ping's side because they couldn't swallow much energy near this kid. All the energy was absorbed by this kid. It seems that he's about to advance. Chapter 1998. The Holy Land of Taichu. A few days later, Xia Ping had returned to the Holy Land of Taichu. He had completed his mission without any accidents. Some elders of the Holy Land of Taichu were overjoyed when they learned that there was a mithril mine in this place. They immediately sent a large number of masters to take control of the Durian world. As for those demon kings, they were all captured and imprisoned in the underground prison of the Holy Land of Taichu, waiting for the clan behind them to pay for their ransom. Xia Ping also received a huge reward from the Holy Land of Taichu. First, he obtained 100,000 points for capturing many demon kings, then he helped to occupy the Durian world and obtain the mithril mine, which was also rewarded with 100,000 points. Adding the two together, he got a total of 200,000 points, which was a big harvest. He could exchange them for more rare treasures in the Holy Land of Taichu. At this moment, in a quiet room, Xia Ping felt that he could no longer suppress his cultivation. He had stayed on the spaceship to return to the Holy Land of Taichu. That place was not suitable for a breakthrough, but it was safe once he returned to the Holy Land of Taichu. So he immediately cultivated in seclusion, intending to completely break through to the Thunder Tribulation realm. Clattered Xia Ping ran the pure Yang immortal technique to refine the huge energy in his body, as well as the remaining world origin energy, ginseng fruit, and other holy medicines, instantly transforming them into life energy and integrating them into his limbs and bones. Even this energy gushed out of the 9 purple mansions and integrated into his 9 laws of heaven and earth. Boom, in an instant, Xia Ping's 9 laws of heaven and earth expanded instantly. Originally they were only 10,000 feet high, but now they had grown to 3,000 feet. The Kuei Ox, the Golden Crow of Hell, the Primordial Celestial Dragon, the Divine Elephant, the Star, the Thousand-Armed Buddha, the Thousand-Eyed Demon, the Tao Tai, and the World Tree were all replenished by the majestic energy. They were changing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Countless runes gushed out of their bodies and integrated into the 9 laws of heaven and earth, as if condensing into a supreme scripture. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. On the 10th day, Xia Ping's 9 laws of heaven and earth seemed to have reached a critical point. Suddenly, the world tree began to grow, reaching a height of tens of thousands of feet. Many branches grew from the world tree. Each branch was emerald green and had dense patterns on them. It was as if they were engraved with countless law patterns, showing the aura of the world. The Kuei Ox, the Golden Crow of Hell, the Primordial Celestial Dragon, the Divine Elephant, the God, the Thousand-Eyed Demon, and the Tao Tai seemed to be integrated into the world tree. Of world emerged on of the branches and merged into one. Of world tree. The 8 great Dharma forms of heaven and earth had also undergone tremendous changes. The first was the Kuei Cow. Tens of thousands of lightning inscriptions appeared on its body and intertwined with each other. It seemed to have turned into a huge electric net that contained mysterious energy. The lightning energy seemed to have fused with the world tree and turned into the meridian brand of the world tree. Every leaf seemed to be covered with dense lightning patterns. Next was the Golden Crow of Hell. It burned fiercely, and a large number of flame runes appeared in the depths of its body. Boundless flame energy surged into the world tree, and it actually directly blossomed, turning into dark golden flame flowers. A single drop of a flaming flower seemed to be able to turn an area of the void into an endless disaster. The primordial sky dragon had also transformed. Its 100,000-foot-long body was vivid and lifelike. Like a vine, it wrapped itself around the trunk of the world tree and emitted a terrifying dragon might. Numerous heavenly dragon runes also appeared on its body, as if it was a scripture of the dragon race. As for the divine elephant, it was at the root of the world tree. Its huge body held up the entire world tree. Its body contained infinite power, as if it was holding up a world. The most mysterious was the heavenly cycle constellation diagram. It transformed into countless stars and fused into every leaf of the world tree. The countless stars seemed to form a huge array of stars, filled with azure astral energy. At the top of the world tree, the thousand-armed Buddha and the thousand-eyed demon appeared. The thousand-armed Buddha had also changed. It no longer only had 1,000 hands but 3,000. It was as if it represented the 3,000 worlds, and it had reached the great perfection realm. Every palm on its body was dark gold in color, and the center of each palm was at the center of the palms. Countless Sanskrit words appeared, as if Buddhist scriptures were being presented. Vaguely, there seemed to be 3,000 Buddhas chanting on the top of the tree. Sounds of Sanskrit could be heard in the void. The thousand-eyed demon had also undergone an earth-shattering transformation. It had grown 3,000 eyes, and the eyeballs were pure white. They were so white that there were no impurities. It was so white that it sent chills down one's spine and made one feel nauseous. It was as if one would immediately have their soul devoured by the pure white and fall into an endless abyss if they looked at it. At the instant the 9 heaven and earth Dharma forms completed their transformations, Xiaoping immediately sensed that his consciousness had become unprecedentedly powerful. It seemed to condense into a force that could communicate with the heaven and earth, penetrate through space-time, and reach deep into the origins of the universe. Rumble. Xiaoping's body trembled. He discovered that his soul had left his body and entered deep into the void. It kept shuttling through space-time and finally arrived at a boundless river. The river of destiny. He immediately knew that he had finally succeeded. He had truly advanced to the lightning tribulation realm. His dharmic powers and consciousness had experienced a crazy increase, breaking through the bottleneck. His entire body had undergone a huge transformation. It was as if he had turned into a butterfly. This is the legendary river of destiny, the sea of bitterness? Xiaoping felt that he was in a river of nothingness. The surrounding river surged, and it seemed as if every drop of water was pulling at his soul. It was as if there were countless hands grabbing him from the depths of the river, making him unable to move. Moreover, this river was truly boundless. He had advanced to the lightning tribulation realm, and the range of his consciousness had expanded to 500 billion kilometers. However, he still couldn't sense the end of this river. It was as if this river had no end at all. In the distance there was only nothingness. It was covered by gray fog and he couldn't see clearly at all. My body is so huge. Xiaoping immediately discovered that his body was in the sea of bitterness. His soul was actually 3,000 feet tall. This was simply a colossal creature, a giant like a towering mountain. He knew that the souls of ordinary lightning tribulation realm cultivators in the sea of bitterness would at most be 1 or 2 meters tall. The stronger ones would only be a dozen meters tall. 100 meters tall was already considered monstrous. However, the body that his soul had condensed was actually 3,000 feet tall. It was so huge that it could scare people to death. Chapter 1999. Splash, Xiaoping's mind moved and his huge body wantonly rolled in the bitter sea. Suddenly, monstrous waves were set off, and the surrounding waters were stirred up, as if a dragon was coming out of the sea. Although the sea of bitterness was boundless and vast, his body could still be considered a colossal creature. My body in the sea of bitterness is too big. Immediately Xiaoping frowned. He felt that having a huge body might not necessarily be a good thing. Although he could casually flip in the sea of bitterness, he could create huge waves that could overturn rivers and seas with a terrifying aura. However, taking a step forward in the sea of bitterness was more than 1,000 times more difficult than other cultivators. Every time he moved forward, there seemed to be countless invisible forces in the river pulling his body, making him unable to move forward at all. The more he moved forward, the more terrifying the resistance ahead was. At this moment he finally understood why the green ox was so worried about his path to becoming a saint. His soul power was too powerful, so it was very difficult for him to move forward in the sea of bitterness. If he could not cross the sea of bitterness, he would have no hope of becoming a saint. No wonder it's called crossing the sea of bitterness. With such a force as an obstacle, it's indeed very difficult to move forward. Xiaoping gave it a try. He swam in the sea of bitterness and set off. However, after only moving forward for a few minutes, he immediately felt that he was covered in sweat, as if he had fought for 3 days and 3 nights. He felt that his spirit was about to collapse. This was because he was in the sea of bitterness and was constantly fighting against the water. Not only did the water in the sea of bitterness have strong resistance, but the river was also very rapid and there were turbulent whirlpools everywhere. If he was not careful, he would be pushed back and all his previous efforts would be in vain. This feeling? However, Xiaoping soon realized that even if he tried his best to move forward for a distance, it was also very beneficial to him. It was as if crossing the sea of bitterness was also a form of training for his soul. With every distance he moved forward, he felt that his soul was a little stronger. It was as if the depths of the sea of bitterness were emitting wisps of special gray matter that slowly seeped into his soul. As time passed, his soul seemed to slowly merge with his body, seeping into every corner of his body. For a moment, he felt that he seemed to know all the mysteries of his body like the back of his hand. It was as if he had an epiphany, and he had a more thorough understanding of the countless cultivation techniques in his body. All of his martial Dao mystic arts and even his bloodline mystic arts had transformed. The benefits of advancing to the lightning tribulation realm are simply too great. Xiaoping was overjoyed. Without a doubt, the 9 purple mansion spaces in the depths of his sea of consciousness had expanded once again, and they had doubled in size compared to before. The entire purple mansion space was vast and boundless, and the amount of magic power it could contain was unimaginable. If someone could see the 9 violet palace spaces within Xiaoping's body, they would definitely jump in fright. This was because the 9 purple mansions seemed to have transformed into 9 large worlds. The area was extremely vast, and the magical power turned into an ocean. It surged violently and was full of vitality, containing boundless life energy. Thanks to this, the connection between his blood, flesh, bones, meridians and cells had become even tighter and more inseparable. Their density had also increased, making them as tough as a supreme grade spirit artifact. Even if a flying sword of the level of a superior grade spirit artifact were to strike it with all its might, it would only produce dazzling sparks, and it would not be able to cut his skin. At the same time, his divine sense had more than doubled in strength. With a slight movement, his divine sense actually penetrated into the endless dimensional space. He sensed one huge dimensional world after another, as if he had entered the depths of the dimensional world. His perception of heaven and earth spiritual chi was also 10 times stronger than before. With a slight breath, he could set off boundless winds and waves, engulfing everything and devouring storms, temporarily turning the area within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers into a land devoid of spiritual chi. It was as if with just a slight movement, one-dimensional space after another would be forcefully opened and connected to the powerful dimensional world. Lifespan. I can actually sense my lifespan. As Xiaoping gained a deeper understanding of the abilities of the lightning tribulation realm, he was suddenly shocked. This was because the power of destiny descended from the unseen world, and he could clearly sense his lifespan. A number suddenly appeared in the sky above the river of destiny. 357,993,459 years. Xiaoping felt that every time his heart beat, his lifespan seemed to disappear for an instant. The life force in his body also flowed away bit by bit, flowing into the depths of the void. His lifespan was decreasing with every passing moment. Of course, this decrease was very slow, to the point where it was almost imperceptible. I actually have a lifespan of more than 300 million years. This is really shocking. Xiaoping was amazed. Ordinary lightning tribulation realm human cultivators only had a lifespan of 50,000 years. Even if they took pills that increased their lifespan, they could at most live for 100,000 years. Some special demons could live for millions or even tens of millions of years. But now, he had a lifespan of more than 300 million years. Clearly, it exceeded the limits of human lifespan and the lifespan of countless other creatures. It was comparable to a divine beast. He even discovered that his lifespan seemed to be able to continue increasing. Every awakened golden crow of Hell Cell could increase his lifespan by 1 year. Clearly, his long lifespan was completely brought about by the golden crow of Hell bloodline. This is the ability of the lightning tribulation realm? It is really incredible. Xia Ping clenched his fists. After advancing to the lightning tribulation realm, apart from the further transformation of the heaven and earth Dharma idol and making it stronger, the most important thing was that he could clearly sense his own fate and enter the river of destiny. This gave him a fundamental understanding of himself and the entire universe. It could be said that this was the beginning of truly understanding the laws of the universe. There are 3 lightning tribulations in the lightning tribulation realm. As long as one transcends 3 lightning tribulations and can withstand the backlash of the universe's origin, they can immediately pass through the sea of bitterness, condense their true spirit, and become a sage. Xia Ping recalled what the green ox had said before. The first lightning tribulation will occur at the peak of the early stage lightning tribulation realm. The second lightning tribulation will occur at the peak of the mid-stage lightning tribulation realm. The third lightning tribulation will occur at the peak of the lightning tribulation realm, when one is about to break through to the sage realm. These lightning tribulations are stronger than the last. They are all backlash from the universe's origin. Moreover, the greater the commotion in the river of destiny, the more terrifying the power of the lightning tribulation will be. He could clearly sense how powerful the lightning tribulations in the lightning tribulation realm were. Most lightning tribulation realm mighty figures couldn't withstand the power of the lightning tribulation and died. Of course, there were a small number of lightning tribulation realm mighty figures who couldn't advance much in the sea of bitterness. They couldn't even trigger the lightning tribulation and died of old age. However, Xia Ping had encountered lightning tribulations several times when he was still weak. He had a very clear understanding of lightning tribulations and more or less had some experience. If he prepared well, it shouldn't be a problem for him to transcend the lightning tribulation. Chapter 2000. Another month passed. Xia Ping finally finished consolidating his early-stage lightning tribulation cultivation. He completely grasped and integrated his surging magic power and divine sense, reaching the realm of being able to use them freely. After a month of cultivation, his magic power had also become much stronger, and he had advanced in the sea of misery. Xia Ping, the constellation vine has finally fused with the stars. At that moment, Corinne's excited voice was heard. Oh, there's such a thing? I'll go take a look. Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he immediately entered the mountain river pearl space. After all, the stars concerned his future cultivation in the central universe, so he had to be careful. It was a very important transportation tool. At that moment, the stars were parked on an empty space. Corinne stood beside it, looking at the spaceship excitedly. This is the new stars? Xia Ping stroked his chin. The appearance of the stars had undergone an earth-shattering change. It was pale green and its shape was no different from before. Its entire body emitted a rich plant aura and life aura. Thousands of emerald green stars appeared on the spaceship's outer shell. They flickered and communicated with the stars in the sky, constantly devouring the energy of the stars in the depths of the void. He could sense that this spaceship was alive, not dead like before. It seemed to be breathing all the time and devouring the world's vitality. It could cultivate and evolve on its own. What abilities does it have? Xia Ping asked. First of all, its defensive ability. It has now advanced to a mid-grade sync-grade spaceship. Corinne said excitedly, its defensive ability is extremely powerful. Ordinary spatial storms can't damage it at all. Even if it's damaged, it can regenerate at an extremely fast speed. If Old Master had such a mid-grade sync-grade spaceship back then, perhaps that enemy wouldn't have been able to kill him through the spaceship's defense and would have been able to escape easily. It sighed, feeling that the current stars was much more powerful than before. It was more than 10 times more powerful. If it were to drive this spaceship, it would probably be able to charge around in the normal zone unscathed. Even if it entered the mystic zone, this spaceship would not be much inferior to other spaceships. That was because the stars that had fused with the constellation vine was too powerful. Its entire body had turned into a special structure of the constellation vine, and it possessed immortal characteristics. If the previous stars had been shattered, it would have been torn into pieces. It would have been very difficult to put it back together, and it would have required a lot of resources to repair. But things were different now. The stars that had fused with the constellation vine possessed the characteristics of an immortal creature. Even if it was smashed into pieces and only a small fragment was left, it could be revived as long as it absorbed enough energy. This was the terror of an immortal rank ship. It surpassed most ships. Secondly, its attack power is more than 10 times stronger than before. Corinne continued, the previous Star Destroyer cannon's might was not bad, but it was only not bad. After fusing with the Thousand Stars Vine's ability, it has over 1,000 immortal rank vines, which can cover hundreds of millions of kilometers in an instant. It can easily penetrate all kinds of matter, invincible and incomparably sharp. Even an immortal sage won't be able to destroy the stars. Furthermore, this is just the beginning. As time passes, the constellation vine will continue to evolve and slowly recover to its peak state. By then, it will even be able to contend against an immortal sage and become a true immortal creature. After the Thousand Stars vine had been slain, it had been enlightened by the World Tree and had just barely gained a bit of sentience. It was still very far away from becoming a peak Thousand Stars vine, and it needed time to recover. Even so, its potential was limitless. It would recover to become a terrifying peak immortal rank plant sooner or later. With the Thousand Stars vine's ability, it was not afraid of being surrounded. No matter how many people came, they would all die. This was a universe rank monster, a natural disaster of the ancient era. Lastly, its speed. Corinne paused for a moment, then said, its initial speed is also more than 10 times faster than before. Because it has fused with the Thousand Stars vine's ability to devour star energy, it has strengthened the ship's engine. It can devour star energy from the depths of the void at any time. This makes the ship almost a perpetual motion machine, and it doesn't need any energy replenishment. It can be said that the stars would only need 1 day to cover the distance that it needed 10 days to travel in the past. Its performance has been greatly improved. It was very emotional. It did not expect the stars to evolve to this extent. It was no wonder that most Sage rank ships needed to fuse with immortal rank corpses. The improvement to the ship's performance was too great. Sometimes, it was not only a means of transportation, but it was also a powerful offensive and defensive weapon, a combination of attack and defense. Amazing, it has actually evolved into an immortal rank creature, and it can cultivate and evolve at all times. Xiaoping was also amazed. To him, the greatest benefit of the stars that had fused with the Thousand Stars vines was the ability to continuously evolve. Normal ships would probably be at their peak when they were built, and it was impossible for them to continue evolving. However, the current stars was different. It seemed to have become an immortal rank creature, and it could evolve on its own like an intelligent creature. This was probably the fundamental difference between Sage rank ships and other ships. Indeed. Corinne nodded and admitted this point. Oh right, I almost forgot to tell you that the star's internal space has also expanded. Its internal space has also expanded by 1,000 times. It's like a small world. The Thousand Stars vine's star energy has a great effect on the star's advancement. All the ship rooms have turned into star spaces. It explained that the ship's internal space had also undergone an earth-shattering change. Such a change was from the inside to the outside. Very good, then it's time to find the world origin. This time, we have to let Dumbo advance to the Sage rank as soon as possible. Xiaoping looked at the new stars and immediately felt very satisfied. Such a powerful stars was enough to support him on any voyage. He felt that he could finally start his plan to find the world origin. After all, letting Dumbo evolve to the Sage rank was the most important thing at the moment. Moreover, he could also explore the mysteries of the Sage rank through Dumbo's evolution to the Sage rank. This would be of great benefit to him when he evolved to the Sage rank in the future. Yes, when do we set off? Corinne nodded and asked. 3 days. Prepare for 3 days. We will temporarily leave the Holy Land of Taichu and look for a newly born world to find a large amount of world origin. Xiaoping thought about it and decided to set off in 3 days. Yes. Chapter 2001. However, before leaving the Holy Land of Taichu, Xiaoping first registered the information about the stars. This was because he still needed to check the origin of each spaceship when entering and exiting the Holy Land of Taichu to prevent unknown things from entering. Once foreign objects were discovered, it would cause great trouble. After all, this was the Holy Land of the human clan, equivalent to the headquarters of the human clan, so the inspection was quite strict. Xiaoping, you actually have a saint-level spacecraft? Seeing Xiaoping come to register the spacecraft, the elder was very surprised. Ordinary cultivators in the Thunder Tribulation state generally could not afford a saint-level spacecraft. Perhaps only the direct descendants of some super families and the kind of geniuses who were favored by the great ancestor had the opportunity to have their own saint-level spacecraft. But as far as he knew, Xiaoping was just an ordinary person from the Eastern Universe. Apart from the Jianghu sect, there was no other force behind him. According to the financial resources of the Jianghu sect, it was estimated that they could not afford a saint-level spacecraft. Even if they could afford it, they would not give it to a disciple and leave it in the headquarters of the Jianghu sect. It's all thanks to the help of my senior brothers and sisters. Without their generosity, I would not be able to live such a good life today, Xiaoping said carelessly, saying that it was all thanks to the senior brothers and sisters of the Holy Land of Taichu. The black-clothed elder's mouth twitched. He suddenly remembered that Xiaoping had made a scene in the Holy Land of Taichu, beating up many inner disciples and humiliating them. It was said that this kid had gained at least 1,000,000 points in this turmoil. In addition, he seemed to have recently completed a task of fighting for a world, captured many demon kings and gained 200,000 points. With so many points, it was not impossible to exchange for a saint-level spacecraft. Because the Holy Land of Taichu kept the private information of each disciple confidential, ordinary elders had no right to access it. An elder like him could not possibly know the specific information of Xiaoping. He could only guess secretly and did not know what Xiaoping had spent his points on. But hearing Xiaoping's words, he felt that it made sense. Okay, this spacecraft has been registered. In the future, you can use this spacecraft to enter and exit the Holy Land of Taichu at any time. The black-clothed elder nodded and completed Xiaoping's registration. Elder, by the way, I have one more thing. Xiaoping continued, recently I plan to leave the Holy Land of Taichu for training. Do I need to apply in advance? Going out to train? The black-robed elder was stunned. Every new disciple who entered the Holy Land of Taichu would stay there and cultivate. They would only leave when they could no longer improve themselves and go out to gain experience. But this kid hadn't been here for long and he wanted to go out to train. But he also thought of Xiaoping's various achievements and suddenly realized that with Xiaoping's cultivation and strength, even if he stayed in the Holy Land of Taichu, he wouldn't be able to make much progress. It was probably because of this that he wanted to go out and train. Of course, you have to apply in advance. Ordinary new disciples are not allowed to leave the Holy Land of Taichu unless they are completing a mission. After all, if you want to leave the Holy Land of Taichu and go to other worlds, you can't do it without a saint-level spacecraft. The elder in black said in a deep voice, but you are different. You have enough strength and your own saint-level spaceship. Naturally, you are qualified to enter and exit the Holy Land of Taichu at will. I will report it to you. Thank you, elder. Xiaoping nodded. He registered all the information and returned to his residence. The news that he planned to leave the Holy Land of Taichu and go out to train was not kept a secret. Like a hurricane, it spread throughout the Holy Land of Taichu and was known by countless disciples. Damn, this kid actually has a saint-level spacecraft and registered it with the Holy Land of Taichu. It's too extravagant. I've lived for tens of thousands of years and have countless treasures, but I can't even afford a saint-level spacecraft. This kid actually has one. Is there any justice in this world? Isn't he from the Eastern universe? How can he be so rich? He redeemed it with points. Last time he made a mess in the Holy Land of Taichu and defeated a large number of brothers and sisters. As a result, he earned millions of points and is filthy rich. It is said that he was very grateful to us for giving him points at the registration place. Without our generosity, he wouldn't be as rich as he is today. I'm grateful to his 18 generations of ancestors. What does he mean by that? Provocation? It's clearly a provocation. He's mocking us for giving him money. It's purely us fools who raised money to buy him a saint-level spacecraft. That kid is too arrogant. He simply has no respect for his elders. Haha, let's wait and see. This kid's good days are over. Instead of using his points to redeem a large number of treasures to increase his cultivation, he actually coveted a useless spacecraft for enjoyment. How stupid. That's right. I've seen many such arrogant geniuses, but there are also many who have fallen. Often they run fast in the front, but in the end they disappear without a trace. Yes, becoming a saint is the most important thing. Now is nothing. If he doesn't become a saint, he will still be a cup of yellow soil in tens of thousands of years, unable to escape the reincarnation of death. Many people from the Holy Land of Taichu gnashed their teeth and mocked and belittled Xiaoping to the extreme. They were so jealous that their intestines turned green. At the same time, they regretted stupidly giving points to this kid to redeem a saint-level spacecraft. There was nothing more humiliating than this. To be honest, they would rather throw away all their points than spend a dime for Xiaoping, the bastard. But it is said that Xiaoping has already broken through and reached the Thunder Realm. He couldn't make a breakthrough in a short time in the Holy Land of Taichu, so he went out to gain experience. A man in indigo said, pointing out the reason why Xiaoping left the Holy Land of Taichu. What do you mean by that? You're flattering others and belittling yourself. You're Xiaoping's spy. Why are you speaking for him? Someone from the Holy Land of Taichu's face suddenly darkened as he stared at the man who had just spoken. Everyone looked at the man in indigo with unkind expressions. No, no, no. Feeling the great pressure, the man in indigo shook his head repeatedly. Of course not. I hate him to the core, you know? If he were standing here, I would immediately go out and beat him up dozens of times. He immediately made his position clear, for fear that he would be beaten up if he was one step late. Then I'm relieved. It seems that you're one of us. Haha, so what if he has broken through to the Thunder Tribulation realm? You're talking as if we're not in the Thunder Tribulation realm. It's no big deal. Our disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu are a lot stronger than him. That's right. Just wait and see, I'll surpass him sooner or later. He also redeemed a spacecraft to go out to gain experience. He's pretending. I'd like to see what the hell he's doing. Maybe he's just driving a spacecraft to fool around, pick up girls and scam for food and drinks. That's right. I can tell that Xiaoping is not a decent man at first glance. Many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu spat at Xiaoping and spat at the bastard. Chapter 2002. A few days later, Xiaoping left the Holy Land of Taichu on the myriad stars and came to the boundless void storm of the central universe. However, the newborn myriad stars was still as stable as Mount Tai under the tyrannical space turbulence. No destructive power bombarded the spaceship, but it remained unscathed. If there was a sudden space storm in the distance, the myriad star's vine would immediately stretch out a tentacle and blast the space storm into pieces from tens of thousands of kilometers away. Corinne, how many world sources do we need to devour for Dumbo to evolve? Xiaoping asked Corinne. I'll need at least 108 origin sources of small worlds. Corinne said in a deep voice. In the ordinary areas of the central universe, the worlds born were also divided into small worlds, medium worlds and large worlds. Small worlds were the most common. The durian world they encountered earlier was a small world. Medium worlds were relatively rare. As for large worlds, one might not even appear in a million years. Moreover, once a large world appeared, it would immediately be fought over by the major races. They would not give any chance for other races to snatch it. After all, a large world represented endless resources. Any race would go crazy. However, if we can obtain the source of 10 medium worlds or the source of a large world, Gaia can also evolve, Corinne said. If they could obtain the source of a large world, it would completely satisfy the energy needed for Gaia's evolution. After all, the source energy of a large world was too huge. If we can find a large world, we can save a lot of time and effort. The problem is that it's too difficult to find a large world in the central universe. Corinne paused and continued, ordinary large worlds have long been occupied by major races. A newly born large world might not even appear in a million years. It indicated that it was difficult to find traces of a large world, so it was more cost-effective to find a small world. That's not a big problem. I have the wish compass with me. I can use this connate magic treasure to find a new large world. Xiaoping was full of confidence. If an ordinary person wanted to find a newly born large world, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. They would probably not find any clues even after searching for tens of thousands of years. However, it was different for him with the wish compass. Finding a large world was inevitable. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately took out the wish compass. He infused his divine sense into it and operated this powerful connate magic treasure. Boom, all of a sudden, a mysterious gray mist gushed out of the compass of wishes and flowed into Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. He immediately sensed a starry sky map emerging from the gray weapon. The final destination of this map was the large world that had just been born. Let's go. Xiaoping was very excited. He immediately commanded the stars to set off towards their destination. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Because the central universe was just too big, there was spatial turbulence everywhere, so there was no way to perform spatial jumps. Spaceships could only fly at their own speed, so their speed was very slow. Xiaoping also stayed on the ship for a full month. Of course, he wasn't just resting during this period of time. At the same time, he was also cultivating, devouring and refining the energy he had obtained from his body. This allowed his magic power to increase by a portion, and he was improving at every moment. His essence, chi and spirit were also much stronger than before. We're here. In front of us is a large world that has just been born. There must be a world essence inside. Corinne's excited voice came over. Xiaoping immediately looked out of the spaceship. The walls of the spaceship had turned transparent, and he could clearly see the surroundings of the spaceship. A vast and boundless world appeared before him. It was as spectacular as the Milky Way. This world's diameter was at least 100,000 light-years, and it was still expanding. Its appearance was like a huge goose egg, and it was surrounded by countless nomological barriers. It was a self-contained entity that could block any spatial storm and protect the safety of the world's interior. Swoosh! Without hesitation, the stars turned into a ball of energy and entered this large world. Immediately, the ship sensed a powerful repulsive force from the world's barrier, as if it was preventing objects from the outside world from entering. However, the stars emitted a powerful green energy. Like a light ball, it broke through countless obstacles and tore through all the space barriers like an all-dong. In the next second, the stars dived into the new large world. This is the new world? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at this newly born world. He discovered that there were many plants growing in the surroundings, turning into dense forests that were lush and full of vitality. However, there were no animals. It was purely plants, as if it was a primitive world. Xiaoping, there seems to be someone down there, Corinne said seriously all of a sudden. Through the power of the myriad stars, he sensed a radius of hundreds of billions of kilometers and immediately sensed a dozen powerful auras appearing in a valley tens of millions of kilometers below. He immediately activated the star's concealment system and hit all the auras on the ship, making it transparent. Even a peak Thunder Tribulation Realm powerhouse would not be able to sense the ship's existence. In this unfamiliar environment, safety was the top priority. There's someone? Could it be the natives of this world? Xiaoping asked. This is a newly born world and no creatures have been born. If I'm not wrong, they should be outsiders like us. They might even have discovered this world before us, Corinne said in a deep voice. This is a newly born world. There's such a thing? Let's go and see who they are. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. If this world was discovered by others, it would definitely attract an endless stream of powerful enemies who would come in groups. After all, the benefits of such a large world were too great. No race would miss it and they would fight for it crazily. However, it was impossible for him to give up on this large world. This concerned Gaia's evolution, and he was about to become a saint-level existence. No one could stop him from fighting for this world's origin. Swoosh! He put away the stars and flew alone. His figure flickered and he quickly arrived at the valley. Soon Xiaoping saw a group of people appear in the valley. Although they were called humans, this group of people only had the appearance of humans. There was a star symbol between their eyebrows, and their bodies emitted dense star energy. It was as if they were wrapped in a mass of starlight, and they were unfathomable. They're not humans but the Starlight race. The Starlight race from the Mystic Zones. Chapter 2003. The Starlight race? Why are they out of the Mystic Zones? Xiaoping touched his chin. Thanks to the intelligence system of the Holy Land of Taichu, I found a lot of information about the Central Universe. Corinne said, although the Starlight race is from the Mystic Zones, it doesn't mean they don't want to gain benefits in the ordinary zones. If they can occupy a world, they can also gain great benefits. After all, the competition in the Mystic Zones is too fierce and cruel. The Starlight race is a powerful race, but they can't gain the upper hand in the Mystic Zones, so they like to go to the ordinary zones to gain benefits. They look the same as humans on the outside. Xiaoping observed the Starlight race. They do look the same, but their internal structure is completely different. They don't need to eat ordinary food. They can sustain their daily needs just by devouring the energy of the stars. Their lifespan is 10 times longer than ordinary humans. Corinne told him what he knew. But it seems that the Starlight race has discovered this world. Reinforcements will arrive soon. This is a big problem. Of course, the biggest problem is that we don't know how many enemies there are, how many reinforcements the Starlight race will send, or whether other races have appeared in this place. A worried look appeared on its face. That's easy. I just need to sneak into the Starlight race and gather some information. Xiaoping took out the compliance mask. In an instant, he changed into the appearance of a Starlight race member. His body emitted intense energy of the stars. He was surrounded by starlight like a child of the stars. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, he appeared in front of the Starlight race without hesitation. Who's there? All of a sudden, a dozen members of the Starlight race who were chatting in the valley sensed an unfamiliar aura. Their hair stood on end and they were startled. They were on full alert. After all, dangers lurked everywhere in this strange world. Anything could happen. Brothers, don't worry. We're on the same side. Xia Ping appeared in front of everyone and revealed his aura as a member of the Starlight race. A star symbol appeared on his forehead. With the help of the compliance mask he could pass off as the real one. The members of the Starlight race relaxed a lot when they sensed Xia Ping's aura. However, they were still very vigilant. After all, even humans would be very vigilant when they saw strangers. They would not easily approach them, fearing that the other party would kill them and rob them. Sometimes, members of the same race might not be on the same side. It was the same for the Starlight race. Who are you? What's your name? What do you want to do here? A member of the Starlight race shouted and immediately questioned. I'm Xingwu Di, a universe adventurer. Xia Ping clasped his hands behind his back and confidently said, Originally, I was traveling around the normal area searching for worlds, but I didn't expect to come across a newly born large world here. I was overjoyed thinking that I'd made a fortune. However, I bumped into a dozen or so brothers of the same clan in this place, so I wanted to go up and greet them. After all, I've been away from home for a long time, and it's very rare to meet people of the same clan. Universe adventurer. Upon hearing this, the people of the Starlight race were filled with deep veneration. Adventurers who had the ability to travel around the universe were all extremely powerful experts. After all, without strength, how would they dare to travel around? He was afraid that he would not be able to go out for long before he was killed by the enemy. Sometimes, being an adventurer was synonymous with strength. So you have a sync-grade spaceship with you that can travel through the universe at any time? Someone from the Starlight race immediately thought of this. That's right. Xia Ping nodded and admitted. The expressions of the people from the Starlight race became even weirder, and they seemed to be a little respectful. Are you an aristocrat? Xia Ping knew that among the Starlight race, there was a huge difference in social class. It was divided into aristocrats and commoners, and the middle was almost insurmountable. Commoners would have to bow and maintain respect when meeting aristocrats. Moreover, aristocrats were rich in resources, and their talents were more than 10 times stronger than commoners. This was a huge gap that commoners could not catch up with. As aristocrats, they also had all kinds of privileges such as not having to pay taxes and so on. It was understandable that these people from the Starlight race thought that Xia Ping was an aristocrat. After all, a sync-grade spaceship was priceless. Even the great aristocrats of the Starlight race would find it difficult to take out a sync-grade spaceship. As for commoners, they probably could not even afford a spare part of the spaceship. In fact, powerful existences that could become universe adventurers were basically aristocrats of the Starlight race. No, I'm also a commoner. Xia Ping rolled his eyes and said, This spaceship is just a trophy I obtained from a powerful ruin by accident when I was traveling. If I relied on my own wealth, I wouldn't be able to afford it at all. I see. You obtained it during your adventure. You were really lucky. However, to be able to survive after entering a powerful ruin isn't just a matter of luck. It also represents strength. I didn't expect a powerful adventurer to appear among the commoners of the Starlight race. This is great. These people from the Starlight race looked at Xia Ping with admiration as if they were looking at a hero. They were also commoners of the Starlight race. They had no power or influence and naturally knew how difficult it was for a commoner to become an adventurer. They had such a dream when they were young, but after they grew up, the dream was gone. Moreover, after they found out that Xia Ping was also a commoner, they instantly became less reserved. After all, they were all people of the same class, so they would not be so restrained. The difference in class was almost insurmountable in the entire Starlight race. You're too kind, Xia Ping said humbly. He was about to say something when the communicator of one of the people from the Starlight race in front of him seemed to ring. That person said excitedly, Our reinforcements are coming. They have reached the periphery of this world and are about to enter. Reinforcements? What reinforcements? Xia Ping pretended not to know what was going on and asked while knowing the answer. Brother Invincible. That person said, After we discovered this world, we immediately notified our companions of the Starlight race in the ordinary area and asked them to send countless experts over to snatch this large world. If this large world is occupied by us, the Starlight race's strength will definitely be greatly enhanced. Those of us who discovered this new world will also receive great credit. We might even be promoted to the nobility level. Many people from the Starlight race were very excited. For them, becoming a nobility of the Starlight race was simply a lifetime glory. They would receive many privileges and become an important member of the Starlight race. Brother Invincible, since you have also discovered this world, why don't you join us and share the credit? After all, the Starlight race is not the only one who discovered this world. There are other enemies who may need Brother Invincible's help. Chapter 2004. There are other enemies? What do you mean? Xia Ping asked without batting an eyelid. Xing Rongmu gritted his teeth. Brother Wudi, to tell you the truth, we discovered this world by luck. We had a conflict with the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race. You know we don't have a good relationship with these two races. We fought to the death in the Mystic Zone. It was the same even in the Ordinary Zone, fighting as soon as we saw each other. In the end, as we were fighting, we accidentally discovered a large world that had just been born not long ago. We immediately stopped fighting and hurriedly notified our comrades in the clan to come over. After all, this major world is of great importance. If it's discovered by peak races like the Demon race or the Human race, we won't even get any leftovers. Even so, the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race are still competing with us for this major world. Their strength is not to be underestimated. He indicated that there were still two major competitors in this world, the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race. The Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. Information about these two races flowed through his mind. These two races were also born in the Mystic Zone. Together with the Starlight race, they were the three major races of Constellation. The Radiant Moon race was a powerful race that grew by devouring moonlight. Their bodies contained the power of extreme cold and extreme yin. They could freeze everything with a single move. The Glorious Sun race was a powerful race that grew by devouring the light of stars. Their bodies contained the essence of the sun. They had a fiery temper and were like fire giants that could burn 1,000 miles at any time. These two races were sworn enemies with the Starlight race. They disliked each other. They both believed that they were the true Constellation races. They had always wanted to swallow the other two races and become the true king of the stars. Of course, I'm also a member of the Starlight race. It's my duty to strengthen my race. Xia Ping patted his chest and immediately agreed. Hearing this, Xing Rongmu and the others smiled. They looked at Xia Ping as if he was one of their own. His identity as a commoner made them feel even better. Our people are here. Just then, Xing Rongmu and the others seemed to sense something and immediately looked up. Xia Ping also looked up and saw 3 beams of treasure light streaking across the starry sky, illuminating the surroundings. They contained the dazzling power of starlight like a galaxy, vast and majestic. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, 3 rays of treasure light landed in the surroundings of the valley. Suddenly, 3 Saint-class flying ships of the Starlight race appeared. They looked like stars on the outside and contained dense astral energy. They were unfathomably deep. With a bang, the doors of the flying shuttles opened as numerous silhouettes appeared. There were at least 1,000 people in each of the shuttles, all of them radiating powerful astral energy. At the very least, they were all at the Law Phase realm, and a portion of them were at the Lightning Tribulation realm. They were extremely powerful and their breaths were fused together. Astral energy permeated the air, and it was as though there were tens of thousands of stars gathered together. Xing Rongmu were here. This time you've discovered a newly born world. That's a huge merit. Once we take over this world, you'll all benefit greatly. Wait, who is this person? Where did he come from? Why did he appear in this place? Why haven't I seen him before? An intense beam of starlight flew out from the flying shuttles, arriving in front of Xing Rongmu and the others in an instant. Instantly, a figure appeared before Xia Ping and the others. It was a young man dressed in azure clothes. This young man's cultivation was extremely high, reaching the peak of the Lightning Tribulation realm. His body emitted specks of starlight as though there were countless stars surrounding him. With his body as the core, the starlight lingered continuously as though his body had turned into a star region. When Xing Rongmu heard this, he immediately went forward and said respectfully, "Lord Xing Yongming, this is actually a commoner adventurer of our starlight race who happened to pass by this world. He's very powerful. In order to contend against the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race, we hoped that he could lend us a hand. Hence we let him stay." He was very respectful to this young man. It wasn't just because the other party was powerful, far surpassing him, but also because the other party was a noble of the Starlight race. Moreover, he was a great noble with a distinguished status. Commoner adventurer? What a joke. A trash commoner wants to be a noble adventurer. He's just a parrot. He doesn't know his place. When Xing Yongming heard this, he laughed loudly as though he had heard the funniest joke in the world. In order to fight for this world, We sent 3 Saint-class flying shuttles and 3,000 elites of the Starlight race here to ensure that nothing goes wrong. You actually hope that he can lend us a hand? What a joke. We have many experts here. Why would we need the help of a lowly commoner? I think he saw that we're powerful and wants to suck up to us. Do you think I don't know what you commoner adventurers are thinking? What they love the most is to take advantage of us nobles. He looked at Xiaoping with contempt. You can scram now. Next, we're going to sweep the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race, these 2 useless races. Trash shouldn't stay here. You're embarrassing yourself and dragging us down. Xing Rongmu and the others were so angry that their faces turned red. Although Xing Yongming was targeting Xiaoping, they could tell that he was indirectly scolding the Locust. His goal was to suppress the commoners. If Xiaoping was a noble of the Starlight race, Xing Yongming would probably have a different attitude. However, they didn't dare to provoke him directly. After all, the other party was powerful and had many people. It wasn't good to provoke them. They could only secretly warn Xiaoping through telepathy. Brother Wudi, I'm very sorry. This person is a great noble of the Starlight race. He's arrogant and has never respected us commoners. He's extremely arrogant. That's right. This guy looks down on us commoners and orders us around like pigs and dogs. However, the force behind him is very powerful and has a good relationship with the royal family. We can't go against him. There was once a commoner who offended him by saying a few words to his face. In the end, he actually killed him. He even killed his entire family of 18. It was extremely cruel. Brother Wudi, it's better for you to bear with it. We can't provoke a great noble like him. Otherwise we'll be in big trouble. There's nothing we can do. Who asked us commoners to be born lowly and powerless? That's right. Bear with it for a while and take a step back. Bearing with it is the way of survival for commoners like us. Bear with it for a while and it'll be over. It's just humiliation. It's not like we haven't experienced it before. Bear with it for a while and you'll get used to it. Xing Rongmu and the others secretly advised him and communicated with their divine senses. Chapter 2005. Dismember me into pieces? Hearing this, Xiaoping raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, I've been running amok in the universe for so many years. I've seen all kinds of enemies. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me, losing your temper and putting on airs? Do you know that if you weren't a member of the Starlight race, you would have died today just because of what you said just now? Even your father wouldn't be able to save you. He knew everything, but he didn't know how to swallow his anger. Hearing this, Xing Rongmu and the others' expressions changed drastically. How could he be kind after saying such words? He was clearly going to fight Xing Yongming to the death. All of them were shocked. As commoners, they had never spoken so loudly to an aristocrat before. They had never dared to go against an aristocrat like this. You're courting death, lowlife. You're courting death. Xing Yongming shouted angrily. His eyes were ferocious and full of killing intent. You're just in the Thunder Retribution realm. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? There are a lot of people like you in the Starlight race. Do you know that? Today I'll show you the true strength of an aristocrat. A lowlife like you, even if you're lucky enough to have a fortuitous encounter, will never be able to compare to us aristocrats. Boom! As soon as his voice fell, he made a grabbing motion with his hand, and an azure longsword instantly flew out from his body. This longsword was engraved with densely packed star runes, and it contained a dense amount of star energy. Vaguely, there seemed to be a star field within it. Saint Tool. Without a doubt, this was a low-grade Saint Tool. I see. You actually have a low-grade Saint Tool. No wonder you're so arrogant. Xiaoping suddenly realized why Xing Yongming was so confident and arrogant. It turned out that he had a Saint Tool. Even if it was a low-grade Saint Tool, it could increase Xing Yongming's combat power by 10 times, making him invincible in the Thunder Retribution realm. It should be known that in the Eastern Universe, a Saint Tool was enough to suppress the fate of a faction. It had infinite power. If it fell into the hands of a Thunder Retribution realm expert, it would naturally be able to exert infinite power, enough to destroy the world. Lowlife. Xing Yongming revealed an evil grin. I'll teach you a lesson today. I'll let you know the difference between an aristocrat and a commoner. You haven't advanced to the sage realm, but you still dare to act so arrogantly in front of an aristocrat. You're overestimating yourself. When I break all your limbs and cripple all your cultivation, you will understand why nobles are a class that you can never afford to offend. Of course I won't kill you. Instead, I'll let you live like a dog. I'll kill the chicken to scare the monkey and make an example out of you. Crash, in the blink of an eye, a vast amount of astral energy gushed forth from Xing Yongming's body. Countless astral lights flickered as a vast amount of energy frenziedly flowed into the longsword. In an instant, the longsword erupted with dazzling starlight and went berserk. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Ray after ray of azure sword chi blasted out, turning into a terrifying sword net that covered over 10,000 kilometers. It blotted out the sky and covered the earth, and there was practically no gap at all. Indistinctly, this sword net contained boundless astral energy. It seemed as if there were stars revolving one after another, fusing together and forming a single entity that resonated with the stars in the sky. This stellar sword formation seemed to be able to communicate with the power of countless stars in the void. One after another, the power of the stars was infused into the formation, increasing the power of this formation to an extremely terrifying level. It's over. This time Brother Wudi is finished. I told him long ago to endure and not be impulsive. But it's too late now. Sai, why did he have to clash with the aristocrats? They have a huge business and they even have a saint weapon. How could he beat them? It's a pity that it's hard for us commoners to have an indomitable hero. I didn't expect him to die now. Xing Rongmu and the others all shook their heads and sighed. They could sense how terrifying this low-grade saint weapon was. It condensed into a peerless sword formation, which was enough to tear any top-notch expert into pieces. Xing Yongming, who wielded a low-grade saint weapon, said that he was invincible in the lightning tribulation realm. Not many people would dare to object. They had no chance of defeating Xing Yongming at all. You're so arrogant just because you have a low-grade saint weapon. You have no idea how big the universe is. Let alone a low-grade saint weapon. Even if you had a dozen of them, you wouldn't be a match for me. Xia Ping remained unfazed in the face of the astral sword net. With a thought, a powerful wave of energy rushed out of his body, forming a Dharma idol, the myriad world star diagram. The diagram spanned hundreds of thousands of kilometers, and the entire world dimmed. Over 1 million stars appeared in the depths of the diagram, covering the surroundings densely. The stars gathered together, seeming to form a boundless starry region. Everyone felt a suffocating pressure coming from the depths of the diagram, causing the space to distort. Rumble, in that instant, the 1 million stars trembled at the same time, emitting rays of azure light one after another. They gathered together, forming a huge door in an instant. It was a starry door. It seemed to be communicating with the world of stars. Complicated and profound runes appeared on the door frame, seemingly containing the supreme power of stars. One after another, huge stars were engraved on the door. As soon as the door appeared, it instantly suppressed the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Even the radiance of the world was robbed of its color, and all the energy of the world was completely frozen. All the people of the starlight race gasped. They felt their bodies being suppressed by the stars. They could barely move and they didn't even dare to breathe. They sensed that the door seemed to contain the supreme mysteries of the stars. It was unfathomable and unstoppable. Bang! Bang! With just one strike, the starry sky gate pressed down, shattering all the sword nets. One after another, the sword chi turned into powder. There were sounds of energy explosions everywhere, and the ground was smashed open with shocking craters. Countless deep cracks also appeared on the ground, making cracking sounds like spider webs. That long sword was also crushed in an instant. The tyrannical power of the stars was transmitted to Xing Yongming's body, instantly sending him flying. He couldn't even hold the long sword in his hand. With a clang, the long sword also fell to the ground. After suffering such a serious blow, the longsword's vitality seemed to be damaged, and the light on the blade dimmed a lot. Xing Yongming was seriously injured, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. He was seriously injured on the spot. Swoosh! Xia Ping grabbed the longsword in his right hand. The void trembled, and he immediately grabbed the longsword in his right hand. Buzz, the longsword seemed to have its own intelligence as it continued to struggle and hum. 2 mysterious and profound characters formed from astral energy floated on the surface of the sword. These 2 characters were none other than Star Destroyer. Star Destroyer was the name of this low-grade sacred artifact. Chapter 2006. You still want to struggle? Just obediently submit. Xia Ping could sense the unwillingness of the sword. It didn't seem to want to surrender. This was to be expected. Every saint implement was extremely proud. They wouldn't surrender so easily. Plus, this saint implement had already been refined by Xing Yongming. His thoughts shifted, and the hellfire golden crow fire deep inside his body flooded into this long sword. Sizzle sizzle, in the blink of an eye, wisps of white smoke came out from the long sword and a miserable scream came from the depths of the sword. Like a malicious spirit, it burned the longsword's artifact spirit and caused it to scream miserably. A chill surged out from the depths of everyone's hearts as they stared at Xia Ping in shock. They did not know what this kid had done to the Star Destroyer sword to put the artifact spirit of a saint artifact in such a miserable state. This was because of the power of the Golden Crow Hellfire. Its power was far too terrifying. Especially at Xia Ping's current level, its power was many times greater than before. This was a flame that could burn even demons to death. How could a mere saint implement's spirit withstand it? Once it seeped into the saint implement, it immediately burned the spirit half to death. It was as if it was in hell and was being fried, grilled, and tortured. Bang! Immediately Xing Yongming, who was far away, spat out a mouthful of blood. He sensed that his mental connection with the low-tier saint implement, the star-punishing sword, had been forcibly severed. This meant that his saint implement had been forcefully refined by someone else, and he, the owner, had been forced out. He couldn't believe it. Because it was impossible for cultivators below the saint level to forcefully refine a saint implement, even if it was the lowest level saint implement. After all, the mental connection between him and the saint implement was so strong that it was indestructible. No one could shake it. If this brat could refine it, didn't that mean his strength had reached the saint level? But this was impossible. If he really was a saint, he wouldn't need to waste words with them. With a thought, they would all turn to dust. This bastard must have used some unknown and terrifying secret technique to create such an effect. Xing Wudi, you dare to steal my saint implement. Aren't you afraid that I won't stop until you die? Xing Yongming roared in rage, his eyes wide open as he glared at Xia Ping. Boundless killing intent brewed in his heart, and his eyes were scarlet red, filled with dense veins of blood. If you want to take it, then so be it. Do I need to discuss it with you? Now that this low-quality saint artifact has fallen into your hands, it's like a pearl covered in dust. Now that I've taken it away, it's also to tell you one thing. You're still not worthy of a saint artifact. A person with a shitty nose wants to learn from others and use a saint artifact. Isn't that like a 3-year-old waving a broadsword? Xia Ping said disdainfully. With a light wave, he tossed the low-quality saint artifact, the star-exterminating sword, which had already stopped struggling, into the space of the pearl of mountains and rivers. He was very casual about it. Courting death. You're courting death. Seeing this scene, Xing Yongming was completely enraged. He was unable to restrain his anger, and his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He sensed that the mental connection between him and the Star Punishment Sword had completely disappeared. Moreover, when he saw the Star Punishment Sword fall into his opponent's hands, he couldn't imagine exactly how furious he was. One had to know that it was a low-grade saint artifact. It could be said that this low-grade saint artifact was his entire fortune. It was what he relied on to dominate the universe. In order to obtain this low-grade saint artifact, he had suffered countless grievances from his family. He had suffered many looks of disdain, had to suck up to the old ancestor, and had even exhausted his entire fortune to obtain it. But now it had actually been taken away right under his nose. As the saying went, obstructing one's path to wealth was akin to killing one's parents. Right now, this bastard wasn't just obstructing one's path to wealth. He clearly wanted to make him go bankrupt and destroy all his years of hard work. Such hatred was comparable to the annihilation of an entire clan. He screamed, "All Starlight Race elites heed my command. Immediately set up the limitless Starlight Absolute Kill Array and kill this bastard. I must tear him into pieces and destroy his soul." Although Xing Yongming wasn't the leader of all the Starlight Race members present, he was the leader of one of the Saint-grade airships. He had a total of 1,000 Starlight Race elites under him. These Starlight Race elites were very powerful. There were 800 Transcendence realms and 200 Lightning Tribulation realms. This power was enough to overturn a human world and sweep through it. Moreover, they were born in the Mystic Zone. Their bodies contained terrifying astral energy. In terms of individual strength alone, they were far superior to ordinary human experts of the same level. If there were no sages, this power could probably sweep through most of the forces in the Eastern Cosmos. At this moment, under Xing Yongming's furious bellow, the 1,000 Starlight Race members moved immediately. They were well trained and like an army, they circulated the spiritual power in their bodies. Walala, instantly, waves of domineering astral energy surged out from their bodies. As though they had turned into a star, They emitted countless rays of azure starlight. These starlights were so bright that they seemed to form a boundless star region. Vaguely, the starlight of this group of people fused together, forming a starry sky map of the outer realm. Countless stars decorated it, containing endless killing intent. Despicable. When Xing Rongmu and the others saw this, they all clenched their teeth. They felt that this Xing Yongming was too despicable. He couldn't beat the other party in a one-on-one fight, so he used his authority as a leader to gang up on Xing Wudi. They could sense how terrifying this formation map was. It contained endless astral energy that could destroy everything. The power of thousands of Starlight Race powerhouses gathered together was enough to kill any Lightning Tribulation Realm powerhouse. In fact, this was also a famous army-level formation of the Starlight Race. It was specially used to deal with war-level battles. This time, thousands of elites had arrived to deal with the powerhouses of the Radiant Moon Race and the Glorious Sun Race. But now, they actually used it to deal with their own people, and a single person at that. This was like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. They didn't expect Xing Yongming to be this deranged. Die. Die, you lowly commoner. Xing Yongming's expression was ferocious and murderous. In order to kill this lowly commoner who robbed him of his inferior-grade saint artifact, he didn't care about anything. Even if he used his authority as a leader and would be severely punished when he returned to the Starlight Race, he didn't care. That inferior-grade saint artifact was his life, his wife. He would fight with his life if anyone took it away from him. Therefore, he didn't care about the consequences. He would kill this lowly commoner in an instant. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, the thousands of elites of the Starlight Race formed seals with their hands and activated the astral energy in their bodies, increasing the power of the formation to the extreme. This formation map came crashing down, vast and boundless, from the void. One after another, stars fell from the sky. It was as if countless stars had exploded. They were densely packed and filled a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. There was almost no escape. Chapter 2007. Limitless Starlight Absolute Kill Formation? What an interesting formation. However, this is just child's play. I've seen even more powerful techniques. Break it. Xia Ping's expression was very calm. He was not moved at all. A wave of tyrannical energy rose from his body. Another universal Dharma form burst out. It was a divine elephant that stood tall in the sky and merged with the space gate. This divine elephant stepped out from the depths of the space gate. Its body was augmented by the energy of thousands of stars, which made the divine elephant's power increase endlessly. It roared at the sky and crushed the stars. As soon as it appeared, it did not dodge. Like a space fortress, it bombarded the formation map of the Starlight Race valiantly. Boom. A single attack was like thousands of stars exploding at the same time or millions of volcanoes erupting at the same time. The power it contained was beyond the imagination of ordinary cultivators. The combination of the divine elephant and the star universal Dharma form was not as simple as 1 plus 1. The power was increased by several times at the very least. It was like the collision of stars, sweeping everything in its path. Boom. In the next second, the divine elephant's huge body collided with the formation map. Immediately, the formation map was smashed into pieces. Countless stars were shattered. How is this possible? The elites of the Starlight Race could not believe their eyes. This was the internal battle formation of their Starlight Race. The power it contained was enough to kill any Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse. Even if they had divine weapons, they would not be able to defeat it. However, this guy in front of them was barehanded. He was only using his own universal Dharma form to rampage around. With absolute power, he smashed the formation that they had created into pieces. They clearly saw countless starlights that could pierce through the void, bombarding the divine elephant. However, the divine elephant was not damaged at all. It seemed to have reached the realm of invulnerability. The formation was broken. The elites of the Starlight Race suffered an unprecedented backlash. They could not help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Their internal organs were severely damaged, and their faces were ashen. They felt that their bodies had been severely injured by a tyrannical force, and their bones were shattered. Their bodies were like leaves blown by a gale, and they couldn't help but retreat. Dong dong dong. Many elites of the Starlight clan were blown away and smashed into the mountains far away, creating giant pits. The area within 10,000 kilometers was full of pits and hollows, making it look like the surface of the moon. Even Xing Yongming was the same. Although he did not bear the brunt, he was standing nearby. He was blown away by the violent wind for hundreds of kilometers. He felt that his body was about to be flattened by the wind and was about to be smashed into meat paste. He could not exert any power at all. He was as weak as an ant. Impossible. What's going on? Over 1,000 elites of my Starlight race have formed the limitless Starlight Ultimate Killing Formation. Man and God are unstoppable. Xing Yongming completely broke down. He did not dare to believe that not only were they unable to kill this brat, but they were also defeated on the spot by the other party, utterly defeated. He felt that this was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Dong. Before Xing Yongming could understand what was going on, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Xiaoping. He stomped Xing Yongming into the ground, making him unable to move. Xing Yongming was shocked and enraged at the same time. A feeling of humiliation surged from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. He was simply infuriated. As a great aristocrat of the Starlight tribe, he was high and mighty, but now he was being stepped on the ground by a peasant in public. This was a humiliation that he would never be able to wash away in this lifetime. However, there was no way for him to struggle. This was because the kick had sealed all the energy in his body. It was as if he had been sealed. He could not use any strength at all. Moreover, he had been severely injured by Xiaoping just now. He couldn't even use 10% of his strength. Right now he was even more fragile than a baby. Even if he was angry, there was nothing he could do. Do you still want to shred me into pieces? Do you think that you can be arrogant just because you are an aristocrat? You can beat and kill commoners as you please, treating them like pigs and dogs. Do you believe that even if I kill you and tear you apart, the family behind you won't be able to do anything to me? Xiaoping looked down at Xing Yongming indifferently. If Xiaoping had said this before, Xing Yongming would have treated it as a joke. However, it was different now. More than 1,000 elites had been defeated by this guy in front of him. And he was also beaten up like a dead dog. There was no way for him to fight back. If the other party were to really kill him, then the family behind him wouldn't be able to seek revenge. After all, the universe was just too big. If he were to hide anywhere, the Starlight tribe would be able to find him. And even if he, Xing Yongming, died, it would be in vain. He could feel the terrifying killing intent coming from Xiaoping. It penetrated deep into his bones. It was as if he dared to say anything, his head would be crushed by the other party. Xing Yongming did not doubt that the man in front of him had the guts to do so. Monster. This is a monster. The 1,000 elites of the Starlight tribe who were sent flying and were severely injured on the spot looked at Xiaoping in fear. It was as if they were mice that had seen a cat. An uncontrollable fear surged out from their bodies. That attack from Xiaoping earlier on had shattered all of their guts, allowing them to sense the aura of death and the power of invincibility. There were over 1,000 of them working together. Even Xing Yongming, who wielded a low-grade saint artifact, would be smashed into minced meat instantly. Yet this kid had actually defeated them so easily. How could they have imagined something like this? Oh my god. Brother Invincible is too strong. What dogs hit aristocrats? Over 1,000 of them joined forces and deployed a supreme killing formation, but it was useless. He was finished off with a single punch. That's right. Even a sacred weapon is useless. His strength is boundless. Just what kind of terrifying character have we gotten to know? Is this the true strength of an adventurer in the universe? Extraordinary. Truly extraordinary. Those flowers that grow up in a greenhouse can't compare at all. No wonder Brother Invincible wasn't afraid earlier on. The strength is so strong that it makes one shudder. Xing Rongmu and the others were stunned. They held their breaths, unable to believe their eyes. Earlier on they had thought that Xiaoping was dead for sure. They thought that he would be killed by Xing Yongming and the others instantly, turning into dust. Chapter 2008. Tell me, how do you want to die? Do you want to be torn apart or fried? Xiaoping looked down at Xing Yongming, who was at his feet. His tone was cold and sinister. I don't want to die. I'm a noble of the Starlight race. I have a sage behind me. If you kill me, you won't be able to escape. You'll die too. You'll definitely die. Xing Yongming was shivering as he threatened. I see. Seems like you don't know how to speak human language. I'll just crush your head. Xiaoping's eyes gleamed coldly. No. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I can give you anything you want. I'm rich. Xing Yongming was so scared that he peed his pants. He hurriedly shouted, afraid that the man in front of him would crush his head in anger. He finally knew that his background was useless in front of this man. Brother, have mercy. At this moment, two voices came from afar. One was a middle-aged man in black and the other was a long-haired young man in white. Their cultivation had reached the peak of the thunder tribulation state. At the same time, they exuded an iron-blooded aura that was even stronger than Xing Yongming's. They were both nobles of the Starlight race and captains of one of the spaceships. They commanded thousands of elites of the Starlight race. It could be said that their status was no lower than Xing Yongming's. Who are you? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at the two uninvited guests. I'm Xing Yongping. This is Xing Yiliang, the captains of these two spaceships. He's also one of the leaders who led the team to occupy this large world. He's a noble of the Starlight race. The one who spoke was Xing Yongping. He smiled. I'm here to ask you to let Xing Yongming go. He just has a cheap mouth. He doesn't mean any harm. Moreover, we're all from the Starlight race. Why do you have to fight to the death here? I hope you can be lenient, brother. That's right. And that inferior grade sacred weapon. I hope you can return it to Xing Yongming. That's his life treasure. He can't lose it. It's just a misunderstanding. Xing Yiliang also spoke. Cheap mouth? Misunderstanding? Hearing that, Xia Ping instantly laughed. It was a sneer. Earlier he brought out a sacred artifact to kill me. He even mobilized over 1,000 men. Is that also a misunderstanding? Taking 10,000 steps back, even if it was a misunderstanding, why didn't you guys come out to stop him when he wanted to kill me just now? Now that Xing Yongming is in trouble and is at a disadvantage, you guys jump out. You guys sure know how to sail with the wind. Brother, it was indeed Xing Yongming's fault just now. He is still young and a little impulsive. Besides, aren't you fine? Now that he has become like this, it can be said that he has received sufficient punishment. You can also be considered a person with status. There is no need to continue to be overbearing, otherwise, it will not be good for anyone. Xing Yongping frowned. He felt that this kid didn't know how to appreciate favors. That's right. If you're really unwilling, we can give you some rewards as compensation for Xing Yongming's rudeness. At least we'll have an explanation. Xing Yiliang gave his suggestion. Boom! As soon as the sound of his voice faded, Xia Ping made his move. A claw slapped out, sealing the heavens and locking the earth. This entire space was grabbed by this giant claw, and all the elements of earth, wind, water, and fire seemed to have been grabbed. What? Xing Yongping and Xing Yiliang both felt the terror of this claw. It was as if they were facing a great enemy. Their hair stood on end as if this claw would instantly tear their souls apart. At this moment, they finally felt the terrifying power of this man in front of them. In front of this person they were not much stronger than babies. Their hearts were filled with fear. Dong. In the next second, before they could even react, their bodies were slapped hard onto the ground, creating a huge crater. They were like dead dogs. With a few cracking sounds, more than 10 bones in their bodies were broken. They couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Their clothes were instantly torn in half, and their skin was torn, revealing many terrifying bloody wounds. You! Xing Yongping and Xing Yiliang were both shocked and angry. They looked at Xia Ping in disbelief. They didn't expect that Xia Ping would dare to attack them at this moment. This was simply lawless. You what you? You're not happy, right? Do you believe that I won't cripple you immediately? I'll make you worse than trash. I want to see if you can still become nobles without cultivation. Xia Ping glanced at them. Hearing this, Xing Yongping and Xing Yiliang were scared half to death. Their hearts were filled with endless coldness and fear. If their cultivation was crippled, they would immediately be stripped of their nobles' identities when they returned to the Starlight race. Even if they weren't stripped of their identities, they were worse than dogs without cultivation. They might as well be killed directly. This was a fate worse than death. You want to stand out when you're not capable? You're overestimating yourself. Xia Ping looked down from above. Let me tell you the truth. I've roamed the universe for so many years. I've seen all kinds of people and races. The bullshit difference between nobles and commoners is nothing in my eyes. There's only one truth in this universe: the weak are prey to the strong. You want to use your identity to suppress me? You're delusional. Of course you can be unhappy too. If you're unhappy you can jump out and challenge me. Who else is unhappy now? He glanced at everyone. Many members of the Starlight race felt their hair stand on end. They felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave when Xia Ping's gaze swept past them. They couldn't move at all. Even though their leader was beaten like a dead dog, they didn't dare to move an inch. That was because the thousands of brothers from before had served as a warning. Even if they joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for this monster. If that was the case, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Whoever dared to stand out would be the first to die. There was no doubt about it. This is an expert, a peerless expert who can suppress everything. What bullshit nobles are nothing in front of him. Not even worth mentioning. Xing Rongmu and the others were in awe of Xia Ping. They admired Xia Ping from the bottom of their hearts and treated him as their life idol. If one day they could reach this realm and suppress these nobles to the point where they didn't even dare to breathe loudly, they would be willing to die for it. Seems like no one can save you. You're useless anyway. Just die. Xia Ping looked at Xing Yongming indifferently. Wait, don't kill me. I have ransom money. I have treasures that can compensate you. Spare my life. Spare my life. Xing Yongming was so scared that he peed his pants. His legs were trembling. Oh, what treasures. I've already stolen your sage artifact. You still have treasures? Xia Ping smiled. Also, I have the supreme secret technique of the Starlight race. This is a legacy of the nobles. As a commoner, you definitely haven't learned it. I can teach you. I can teach you everything. Chapter 2009. There was a huge gap between the nobles of the Starlight clan and the civilians. Not only was there a difference in aptitude and resources, but there was also a huge gap in the inheritance of various secret techniques. Commoners could only learn some low-level magical abilities, but nobles could learn all kinds of powerful magical abilities. This also led to the difference in combat power between the two sides, which could not be measured by miles. Hearing this, the expressions of Xing Yongping, Xing Yiliang and the others changed drastically. They wanted to speak up and stop him. After all, this was the supreme secret art of the Starlight tribe. How could they just casually give it to others? That was a great crime of betrayal. But they were still silent. First of all, this person was a member of the Starlight tribe. Even though he was a commoner, he could still be considered as one of them. Even if this matter were to spread out, it wouldn't be considered as leaking information to an outsider. Secondly, based on the strength of this person, even without the supreme secret skill of the Starlight tribe, his own strength alone was enough to make him invincible in the Thunder Calamity realm. To be honest, if Xing Wudi returned to the Starlight tribe instead of going out to train, the Starlight tribe's king would probably make an exception and promote him to a noble with his strength. Therefore, even if he obtained the supreme secret skill of the Starlight clan in advance, it wouldn't be a big deal. It would only be the icing on the cake. Finally, they couldn't beat this kid at all. If they dared to make any noise, even if the other party didn't kill them because they were from the same clan, it would be easy for him to cripple them. This is interesting. I am indeed very interested in some of the peerless secret techniques of the nobles. Although learning them is better than nothing and won't increase my strength by much, I can still learn from them and learn from them. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. This ransom can keep you alive, but don't play any tricks. If I find anything fishy, you'll die without a burial. Of course I won't play any tricks. I'll tell you everything I know. Upon hearing this, Xing Yongming heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like he had made the right bet. Revealing some secret techniques of the Starlight tribe would allow him to live. This was a worthwhile deal. However, losing a low-grade saint artifact still pained him to death. After all, that was his entire fortune. However, compared to his own life, a sacred artifact was nothing. As long as he could survive, he would have a chance to make a comeback. Otherwise, everything would be over. Then say it now. I'm listening. Xia Ping said lightly. Yes. Xing Yongming immediately told Xia Ping about some of the supreme secret arts of the Starlight race that he knew. He used his divine sense to transmit so that only he and Xia Ping could hear the contents of the conversation. That was because there were many commoners here. The reason why he could reveal the secret arts to Xia Ping was because he recognized Xia Ping's strength. However, it was different for the other commoners. An hour later, he told them everything he knew about the secret techniques of the Starlight race. Interesting. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. From Xing Yongming he had learned many secret techniques of the Starlight race, but the most important one was the inheritance and supreme technique of the Starlight race, the Yin-Yang scripture of stars. This was an unparalleled skill that originated from the Starlight tribe. By devouring the energy of the stars and gathering it together, it would form an unparalleled scripture, which would then be used on one's body to eventually become the king of the stars. He could feel that this inherited Starlight Pillar secret technique was of great benefit to him. It complemented the star guiding art and was enough to make up for all the flaws in his body. Oh my God, it's the supreme secret technique of the Starlight race, the Yin-Yang scripture of stars. When Corinne heard this news, he couldn't help but shout. At that time, Old Master almost went crazy because he wanted to obtain this secret technique of the Starlight race. He felt that this secret technique could elevate him to a whole new realm, a whole new level. It's a pity that the Starlight race is very powerful in the mystic area and the old master couldn't provoke them at all. Even if he captured some of the Starlight race's clansmen, it would be useless. There's a seal deep in their brain region and they couldn't be forced to say anything. Once there's even the slightest bit of resistance, the seal in their brain region would immediately explode. But now, I can actually get this secret technique of Starlight Palace so easily. Moreover, the other party even took the initiative to say it. This is simply unimaginable and ridiculous. He never expected that the supreme secret technique of Starlight Palace that the old master had been dreaming about day and night would be obtained by Xiaoping so easily. It was really infuriating to compare oneself with others. It was too unfair. Xiaoping didn't care about Corinne's screams. He was carefully comprehending this supreme secret technique. The more he comprehended, the more he felt that this secret technique was incomparably exquisite. It was simply the crystallization of the supreme almighty of the Starlight race's wisdom. It was a secret technique that led directly to the Great Way. This secret technique could actually smelt countless stars in the universe into one and turn them into a book. He could then take possession of it and completely control it. This was really unimaginable and extraordinary. System: spend 1 hatred crystal to learn the yin-yang scripture of stars. Xiaoping said to the system. Yes, host, as you wish, the system replied. Suddenly, a stream of information flowed into the depths of Xiaoping's brain region. Countless words and images appeared. Almost instantly, he had a deep understanding of this secret technique as if he had cultivated it for thousands of years. Rumble, Xiaoping formed a seal with both hands and a huge amount of star power gushed out from his body. His 108,000 pores emitted azure starlight as if every acupoint was inhabited by a star. These starlight rays gathered together and countless star runes appeared. Finally, they intertwined with each other and condensed into a huge book of stars. One after another, restrictive arrays appeared in the book of stars. They seemed to contain infinite mysteries as if the stars of the entire universe were contained in this book. Impossible. How did he learn it so quickly? I just started teaching him. Seeing this scene, Xing Yongming's face turned green with fright. He couldn't believe his eyes. One had to know that this was one of the supreme secret techniques of the Starlight race. Its difficulty could be counted on one's fingers. Even if ordinary Starlight race nobles learned it, they wouldn't be able to understand it at all. Xing Yongming was also considered a genius. However, he had to learn it for a full 100 years before he could be considered to have crossed the threshold. Then, he cultivated for thousands of years before he barely had a little understanding of it. But what was going on now? This was too ridiculous. He had just learned how to cultivate it, yet he immediately learned it and crossed the threshold. Even if he was a genius, there should be a limit. What was this? How could ordinary people like them live? This was too much. He was so jealous that his intestines turned green. Previously, Xing Yongming had thought that he was a genius. However, after seeing Xing Wudi, he didn't think so at all. This guy was a genius. In front of this person, no one would dare to call themselves a genius. Monster. This commoner is indeed a monster. No wonder he has such strength without being trained by the Starlight race. He can travel in the universe with his own strength. Are all universe adventurers such terrifying monsters? Chapter 2010. However, this wasn't the end of the phenomenon. Xiaoping formed seals and circulated the star-guiding art in his body to communicate with the stars in outer space. Voila! Instantly, countless beams of starlight cascaded down from the depths of the void. Vast amounts of astral energy flowed into the yin-yang stars book like thousands of rivers. The yin-yang stars book devoured the vast amounts of astral energy in the depths of the void like a whale. Inside it, there seemed to be a space of nothingness, like an unfathomable universe. When the astral energy entered the book, it rapidly condensed, transforming into giant stars one after another. They revolved and contained boundless mysteries. What a joke, right? He just condensed the yin-yang stars book and he actually wants to devour and refine the stars? How can his cultivation speed be so fast? Is he still a member of the Starlight race? Xing Yongming's eyes widened. He discovered that in the depths of the book, there were actually stars lighting up one after another. Moreover, the number of stars was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This was the profoundness of the yin-yang stars book. The more stars lit up in the book, the more terrifying the energy contained in the book would be, and the more powerful it would be. It was said that after becoming the king of the stars, this book would light up trillions of stars. It was as if this book had evolved into the void of the universe. When this book was flipped open, each page would represent a world. My God, too fast. His cultivation speed is too fast. It's even faster than taking a flying ship. Xing Yangping, Xing Yiliang, and the rest were also dumbfounded. They could clearly see stars appearing in the depths of the book, densely packed and dotted with stars. In just an hour, 18,000 huge stars had appeared. These stars seemed to combine into a nebula, slowly evolving into a star field. Damn, this fellow is a monster. Xing Yongming was completely convinced. He had nothing to say. He had cultivated this supreme secret technique for several thousand years, but up until now he had only lit up 1,800 stars. But this brat had just started cultivating and had already condensed 18,000 stars. That was 10 times more than him. One could only imagine how great the gap between them was. Could it be that cosmic adventures are really so terrifying? Far surpassing us aristocrats who live in a greenhouse? Xing Yangping could not help but ask. He felt that they were both Thunder Tribulation Realm cultivators, but why was the gap between them so huge? He could not understand it no matter how he thought about it. I think it's only natural. Universe adventurers travel all over the place and experience countless universe secret realms. 9 out of 10 of them die and 1 out of 10 of them survive. Those who are able to survive are all top almighty beings. Even their chances of becoming a saint are more than 10 times higher than others. Xing Yiliang sighed with emotion. He felt that being able to survive in such a dangerous environment meant that he had great ability. This was a great way to sharpen his martial arts cultivation and become even stronger. For people like them who had always been protected by their race, how could they compare to these monsters who had experienced countless life and death battles? It was only natural that there was a gap between them. Of course, with such a huge difference in strength, he felt that Xing Wudi was one of the top adventurers in the universe and shouldn't be a nobody. It stopped. It finally stopped. Xing Yongming immediately heaved a sigh of relief. He discovered that after this kid condensed 18,000 stars, the speed at which he condensed the stars slowed down. It was not as fast as before. If this continued, he felt that his heart was about to jump out of his chest. Interesting secret skill. Immeasurable. At that moment, Xia Ping comprehended the wonders of the Yin Yang Book of Stars. He felt that he had melted the power of countless stars into one and placed it in the book. As long as he was willing, he could immediately take out the book and attack his enemy. In an instant he could release the power of 18,000 stars. Such power was terrifying. Moreover, it could also record the power of the stars and absorb the power of the stars as its own, constantly growing stronger. Of course, one's consciousness and mana had to be able to withstand it. Otherwise the entire book would collapse. No wonder the Starlight clan could survive in the mystic area. There were many saints. With such a secret skill of Star Palace, it was indeed extraordinary. It far surpassed the power of ordinary races. He felt that the Yin Yang Book of Stars contained endless potential. If he continued to cultivate it, he would reach an unimaginable level. Plus, it also provided him with an offensive skill related to Star Palace. He could meld his power of stars into one and increase his fighting power by a few times. A day later, Xia Ping finally improved the secret skill of Star Palace to the point where it couldn't be improved anymore. The book recorded the power of 38,000 stars, which was a lot stronger than before. Inside the book, 38,000 stars revolved slowly, containing a dense power of the stars. It was as if they had formed a great yin-yang formation, communicating with each other and linking together. As long as he willed it, the 38,000 stars in the book would explode at the same time to kill his enemies. Ordinary enemies would probably be turned into ashes in an instant. At that moment, Xing Yongming and the others had also rested for a day and consumed healing elixirs. They had finally recovered from their injuries. Of course, they couldn't be compared to when they were at their peak. After all, they had suffered significant injuries. Brother Wudi. At that moment, Xing Yongping walked over and said in a low voice, "We've been delayed for a day. We don't know if the Radiant Moon Clan and the Glorious Sun Clan's reinforcements have arrived yet. If they do, they might get ahead of us and take the chance to snatch the source of this world. By then we won't get anything. Why don't we hurry?" He carefully asked for Xia Ping's opinion. After yesterday's battle, Xia Ping's position in the Starlight Clan was completely established. He was considered the #1 person in the Starlight Clan. No one could ignore his opinion. Even though he wasn't a noble of the Starlight Clan, no one dared to disrespect him. Vaguely, he had already become the temporary leader of the Starlight Clan. In particular, Xing Rongmu and the others completely treated Xia Ping as a civilian hero and a spiritual leader. Alright, since we're all full, let's go. I have no objections. Obtaining the source of this world is naturally the most important. Xia Ping nodded. He also wanted to go in search of the source of this world. If the source of this world was taken by other clans, then his efforts this time would really be in vain. He couldn't continue wasting time here. Okay. Hearing this, Xing Yongping and the others immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Since even Xia Ping had agreed, there was no reason for them to continue staying here. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Chapter 2011. Swoosh. Xia Ping and the others flew in the air, passing through mountains, rivers, deserts, plains and so on. After flying for 4 hours, they finally arrived at their destination. This world source energy was located in a boundless desert. It was like a sun that lay across the desert. At the same time, it gave off a scorching heat, causing not a single blade of grass to grow in this place. Such a powerful world source. Xia Ping looked from afar and realized that the source of this large-scale world was too big. It was more than 10,000 times bigger than the Durian world. This was a real sun. It stood on the plains, emitting waves that seemed to distort space. Terrifying heat emanated from it as if it was going to scorch this area. If ordinary people tried to get close, they would be burned to ashes before they could even get within a few kilometers. That's right. This is the world source. Let's capture it immediately. Xing Yongming and the others were excited. They couldn't wait and rushed in. But as soon as he entered, the space around him distorted, and a huge wave of energy shook. Terrifying monsters appeared, numbering in the millions, and they charged in all directions. Moreover, each monster was very powerful. They were at least at the Transcendence realm. Some were even at the Lightning Tribulation realm. Their numbers were endless, covering the mountains and plains. What's going on? Isn't this a new world? There shouldn't be any living creatures here. Why are there monsters here? Someone from the Starlight race asked curiously. Because this is a large-scale world. The world source is so powerful that it makes one's hair stand on end. It already has a weak consciousness and can instinctively sense danger. Xing Yongping said solemnly, these monsters are actually guards created by the world source. They are condensed from huge energy to stop invaders. Fortunately, this large-scale world has just been born. If it continues to grow, I'm afraid we won't be able to do anything to it unless a sage takes action personally. Xing Rongmu and the others nodded. It was because of these guards that they were blocking their way. Otherwise, they would have refined the world source long ago. Why would they call for reinforcements? In fact, the reinforcements weren't just to deal with the radiant moon race and the glorious sun race. They were also to deal with the powerful guards created by the world source. It's useless. How could a bunch of guards possibly stop the footsteps of the Starlight tribe? Die all of you. Xing Yiliang bellowed and ordered the members of the Starlight race to attack. Xiao xiao xiao. In an instant, these members of the Starlight race unleashed their innate techniques one after another. From the depths of their bodies, massive amounts of cold astral energy gushed out, seemingly freezing everything. Rays of starlight erupted one after another. These starlights looked incomparably beautiful. The stars were resplendent, but they contained boundless killing intent that could pierce through everything. Bang bang bang. Instantly, the bodies of the 1 million monsters in front of them were instantly pierced by the starlight, torn apart and torn into pieces. The entire ground was also blasted open with astonishing craters. These monsters instantly turned into a ball of energy and disappeared from the world. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. This group of people from the Starlight race that came from the mystic zones was indeed extraordinary. They were born to be the children of the stars and could absorb the energy of the stars. It was almost impossible for an ordinary human cultivator of the same level to defeat them. It would probably take at least 5 or 6 people to team up. Rumble, the many warriors of the Starlight race pushed forward. Along the way, countless energy monsters appeared and swarmed over. There were millions of them, but it was all useless. Rays of starlight blasted over and were immediately turned into dust. The ground was also shaken to the point of collapsing. Shocking cracks appeared. Xia Ping also had a rare moment of leisure. He didn't need to do anything at all and continued to advance. After a whole 2 hours, they finally approached the origin of the world and arrived at the core area. Everyone could feel the massive heat coming from the origin of the world. It was almost roasting them. At the same time, this heat seemed to contain boundless vitality, which was greatly beneficial to countless living beings. They felt that their internal injuries were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. We're here. We've finally reached the origin of the world. Haha, as long as we refine the origin of this world, this large world will belong to us, the Starlight race. Once we succeed, we'll definitely get great merits. It won't be a problem for us to become nobles. But why don't I see the figures of the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race? Have they disappeared? Who cares? I guess we've already arrived before their reinforcements. The many warriors of the Starlight race were excited. Looking at the massive and boundless origin of the world, they couldn't suppress the joy in their hearts. As long as they could successfully refine the origin of this world, each of them would get great merits. They would also be promoted in the Starlight race, which would bring them endless benefits. Brother. At this moment, Dumbo Gaia seemed to have also sensed the existence of the origin of the world. Her voice came from the space of the mountain river Pearl. She was extremely eager to devour the origin of this world. She could feel that as long as she devoured the origin of this world, she would be able to make up for all the flaws in her body. She would ascend to the immortal level immediately and attain true transcendence. Don't be hasty. Let's see if there are any other enemies. Xia Ping sent a telepathic message to appease the agitated Dumbo. He wanted to continue observing the situation and make a move after seeing all the enemies clearly. Otherwise, if he was ambushed by some enemies, all his previous efforts would be in vain. Let's go. Xing Yongming and the others were extremely excited. They immediately gave the order. The many warriors of the Starlight race approached the origin of the world. They planned to set up a formation and integrate the talismans of the Starlight race to refine this large-scale world. The refinement of a small-scale world only required one sage-grade talisman. However, it was different for a large-scale world. Its origin was much stronger than that of a small-scale world. One sage-grade talisman couldn't refine it at all. It required many restrictive formations and 18,000 sage-grade talismans, which would take 3 days and 3 nights to refine it successfully. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to fight for a large-scale world every time. However, at this moment, when the warriors of the Starlight race took one step closer to the origin of the world, a wave of black energy surged out from the depths of the world. It covered the sky and covered the ground. The area within a range of billions of kilometers turned into a boundless dark area. It seemed that at this moment, a black fog had shrouded the void, isolating every corner and sealing the void. What's going on? What happened? Damn it! We fell into an ambush. It must be the work of the Radiant Moon race or the Glorious Sun race. They arrived long ago and set up a formation to wait for us. Chapter 2012. Rumble. In an instant, the surrounding 10 million kilometers were filled with boundless black gas. In the sky, 8 huge steels appeared. Each steel was like a mountain that was thousands of meters tall, floating in the air. The steels were densely engraved with words that looked like a supreme scripture. 4 of the steels contained mysterious Yin energy and emitted an extreme chill that seemed to freeze everything. The other 4 steels contained pure Yang energy that was extremely pure. They were like the sun that could burn everything. The 2 energies were polar opposites, but they were very harmonious as if Yin and Yang were in one. They were soft and indestructible, forming a huge space cage. It's an inferior-grade sacred weapon. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He could sense that the 8 steels were all inferior-grade sacred weapons. Moreover, each steel had a very powerful aura as if they could break through to a middle-grade sacred weapon at any time. The formation formed by the 8 inferior-grade sacred weapons was simply earth-shattering. It created a huge prison that even a Thunder Tribulation Realm expert could forget about escaping from. Damn it, it's the Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Steel and the Crimson Sun Demon Sealing Steel. Xing Yangming's expression changed drastically. He obviously recognized the 8 steels. This is the powerful sacred weapon of the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race. It was a terrifying treasure used to suppress demons in the abyss. Once set up, it can seal the sky and lock the earth, freeze the space and isolate everything. Only sages can escape. A look of terror appeared on his face. He did not expect to encounter such a powerful magic treasure. I could understand if there were only 4 stone steels. But now there are 8 of them. What is going on? Is the Glorious Sun race and the Radiant Moon race working together to deal with the Starlight race? Xing Iliang suddenly thought of the horrifying truth. If the Radiant Moon race and the Glorious Sun race were really working together, the Starlight race would be doomed this time. Many warriors of the Starlight race thought of this too. If the 2 races were not working together, it was impossible to set up two formations at the same time to trap them. Haha, you guys are smart and not hopeless. You guessed that the glorious sun race and the radiant moon race are working together. Just at this moment a voice rang out. It was a loud laughter filled with pride. However, this voice rang out from all directions. No one knew where this voice came from. It was as if the entire dark space was filled with its voice. How can this be? Aren't the radiant moon race and the bright sun race sworn enemies? Why are you two working together? Xing Yongming simply couldn't believe it. There are only eternal interests in this world. There are no eternal enemies. In order to fight for this large world, our two races will naturally put aside their prejudices and blood feuds. Another voice sounded, and it seemed to be the leader of the radiant moon race. This is the normal region, the territory of the human race, the demon race and other peak races. If our three races fight, we won't be able to determine a winner in a short period of time, and the shockwaves of the battle might attract the attention of other races. At that time, this large world might not be ours. In order to prevent the other races from competing for this world, the radiant moon race has decided to join hands with the glorious sun race to eliminate the starlight race. It stated its plan and purpose clearly, stating that in order to completely obtain this large world, it was willing to temporarily abandon its prejudice and join hands with the enemy. Even though there was a blood feud, the benefits were too great and they were willing to let it go. Why don't you join hands with the starlight race? Can't the three races work together? Xing Yongming said unwillingly. Although this world is huge, it's also very small. It's enough to accommodate two races. There's no need for a third race to appear. That voice sounded again. It was very clear that if one more race wanted to share this world, they would have to give up more benefits. However, if there were only two races, they would be able to obtain more. Clearly, the Starlight race had been excluded from the list of competitors. Damn it. The warriors of the Starlight race were very unwilling, and they felt a chill in their hearts. They didn't expect the glorious sun race and the radiant moon race to join hands and set up such a trap for them. It seemed that they were doomed this time. Do you think that the two races can kill us by joining hands? I'll be honest with you. Even if you can really do it, you'll suffer great losses and countless casualties, Xing Yongming said fiercely. Haha, an idiot. A leader of the glorious sun race laughed loudly. Do you think I don't know your background, Xing Yongming? You have an inferior grade saint artifact, the Star Punishment Sword, right? With this inferior grade saint artifact, you're very arrogant. Unfortunately, we have a total of 8 low-grade saint artifacts and 8 demon sealing steels. Even if there were billions of abyssal fiendish demons here, they would be easily suppressed. You guys are nothing. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the leader of the glorious sun race seemed to make a move. Instantly, the 4 scarlet sun demon sealing tablets trembled and released endless light like the sun. In an instant, rays of scarlet light shot out from the depths of the void. They contained terrifying killing intent and terrifying heat, as if they could tear everything apart. Moreover, there were thousands of these scarlet lights and they covered the sky and earth. They poured down like raindrops and there was nowhere to hide. Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Tablet, Suppressed Demons. The leader of the Radiant Moon race also made a move. The other 4 stone tablets trembled and released a watery silver light. Like flowing mercury, a huge amount of moonlight descended. Immediately, the surrounding tens of millions of kilometers seemed to be filled with a terrifying dark aura. It froze everything, and the ground in the distance quickly froze at a visible speed. Huge boulders and even mountains in the distance were frozen into ice sculptures. The 8 stone tablets trembled at the same time, and the entire array formation formed an absolute spatial prison. It was extremely sturdy, and no one could escape from this spatial prison. It's over. It's all over now. 8 inferior grade saint artifacts. How are we going to block them? These are terrifying saint artifacts that have killed countless demons from the abyss. We can't block them at all. What should we do? Are we just going to wait for death now? Many warriors of the Radiant Moon race were in despair. They were helpless and helpless. In the face of this absolute power that came crashing down from all directions, they felt incomparably weak, like ants that would be drowned alive in a flood. Xing Yongming and the others also had ashen faces. They gritted their teeth, but they were unwilling to die in the conspiracy of the Radiant Moon race and the glorious Sun race. Even if they died, they had to let them know how powerful the Radiant Moon race was. Chapter 2013. Xing Wudi? What is he trying to do? Is he trying to block the attack of 8 inferior-grade sacred artifacts alone? Are you kidding me? No matter how strong he is, it's impossible for him to do that. Xing Yongming and the others were stunned. They didn't expect Xing Wudi to take the initiative to attack at this moment. Moreover, he was alone. They felt that this kid was crazy and was seeking his own death. Boom. Xia Ping didn't say anything. A strong wave of primordial qi immediately surged out of his body and quickly formed a universal Dharma idol. It was originally a star Dharma idol, but after cultivating the Yin-Yang Book of Stars, it had also evolved. This heaven and earth projection also underwent an evolution, quickly turning into an enormous, profound, and immeasurable book. It flickered with specks of starlight, containing countless stars. Walala with a thought, the mountain-like book began to move. With a rustling sound, it flipped open page after page and 38,000 stars flew out at the same time. These 38,000 stars released endless light at the same time. Beams of blue light tore through the darkness and lit up the surroundings. It was as if it was daytime within a radius of millions of kilometers. In an instant, under the control of the Yin-Yang Book of Stars, 38,000 stars blasted out. They spun and were filled with dense power of stars, as if they had turned into a huge galaxy. Bang bang bang. This galaxy crushed fiercely. The countless beams of red light in midair and the mysterious Yin aura in the sky were all shattered. It was as if the world was collapsing. Terrifying waves erupted and swept in all directions. Deep in the void, the space exploded inch by inch and a series of earth-shattering explosions rang out. The region within a radius of millions of kilometers was razed to the ground. Even the 8 demon ceiling tombstones were sent flying. The space of the demon ceiling formation seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Cracks that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in the spatial barrier in the depths of the void, and cracking sounds could be heard. The warriors of the radiant moon race and the glorious sun race who were hidden in the depths of the void also couldn't withstand the waves of power. They were sent flying and appeared in front of the warriors of the starlight race. Impossible. He's actually able to block the full-powered strike from the Scarlet Sun Demon Sealing Tablet and the Dark Moon Demon Sealing Tablet. That's the combined might of 8 low-quality saint artifacts. How can he do something so absurd? Not to mention he's using his bare hands. The leader of the Glorious Sun clan simply could not believe what he was seeing. It was simply unimaginable. According to his understanding, when the 8 inferior-grade sacred weapons were activated at the same time, the Starlight Tribe warriors would be instantly obliterated and turned into ashes. However, what was going on? All of a sudden, an invincible figure had appeared. With just one move, the 8 demon sealing tombstones were on the verge of collapse. Even the spatial cage was on the verge of collapse. Spatial cracks had appeared. This is the Starlight Tribe's supreme secret technique, Star's Yin-Yang scripture. The leader of the Radiant Moon race recognized the martial arts ability that Xia Ping had used. However, he was extremely shocked. But there are many warriors of the Starlight race who have successfully cultivated this secret technique. Why is this kid's power so great? Isn't that Book of Stars a little too powerful? It can actually contain 38,000 stars. Can his body withstand it? To be honest, theoretically speaking, the Star's Yin-Yang scripture could contain countless stars, but the problem was that even cultivators might not be able to withstand the power of so many stars. It was just like Xing Yongming. It was not that he did not want to increase the power of the stars in his infinite Star's Yin-Yang scripture. The problem was that 1,800 stars was already his limit. If he continued to increase it, he might not be able to withstand it at all. The entire book might collapse and turn into a ball of energy. It might even backfire on him and he would be heavily injured. Where did this kid come from? Why haven't I seen him before? Is there such a terrifying expert hidden among the Starlight race? Where did he come from? The leader of the Radiant Sun race had a solemn expression. He felt that things had gone beyond his expectations. He did not expect the Starlight race to have such a terrifying expert hidden. The problem was that he thought that he had completely understood the information about the Starlight race, to the extent that he knew them like the back of his hand. However, he had never seen this Starlight race warrior before him. Even many of the famous geniuses of the Starlight race could not match up to this person. If he was a genius of the Starlight race, he should have been famous a long time ago. There was no way such a powerful Starlight race warrior would not be known. Haha, foolish Radiant Sun race and Radiant Moon race. At this time, seeing this scene, Xing Yongming was extremely proud. You think that you can kill us by laying a trap, but how do you know the strength of the Starlight race? It's just 8 low-grade sacred tools. One of the experts of my race can deal with them. Everything you have done is useless. Seeing that Xiaoping easily blocked the power of the 8 demon sealing tombstones while he himself was unharmed, he immediately became smug. It was as if he was taking credit for this matter. The other Starlight Race warriors were also overjoyed. Fortunately, they had encountered this powerful Starlight Race universe adventurer this time. Otherwise, their lives would have been frozen. Even the Starlight Race warriors who had been defeated by Xiaoping before felt the same. With such a powerful expert protecting them, they instantly felt very safe. Arrogant. Hearing this, the leader of the Radiant Sun race was completely enraged. You want to fight against 8 low-grade sacred tools alone? You are simply daydreaming. Just now, I was only careless and you guys found an opening. Also, the power just now was not the full power of the demon sealing tombstone. You only blocked one attack and you are already so proud. Don't look down on me. That's right. Under the power of the Scarlet Sun Demon Sealing Tombstone and the Mystic Moon Demon Sealing Tombstone, even if you are an unparalleled prodigy, you can only die in this place. Victory will belong to the Radiant Moon race. The leader of the Radiant Moon race was also angry. He could not tolerate the Radiant Moon race being looked down on like this. This was already related to the dignity of the Radiant Moon race, and he definitely could not let it go like this. Fool, do you think I will still give you a chance to attack? Break. In an instant, while the leaders of the 2 races were talking, Xiaoping made his move. He grasped the opportunity and the opening in that instant, and the Infinite Stars book appeared on his body again. Immediately, the 38,000 stars trembled and released endless starlight. It seemed to completely illuminate this dark area without any blind spots. Everyone could not withstand such intense light and closed their eyes one after another. Such starlight could even distort the divine senses. They all felt as if they had become blind at this moment, unable to see or sense anything. Reincarnation Brush. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.